2021 meeting of the City of Miami City Commission in these historic chambers. Procedures for the public comment will be explained in a moment by the City Attorney. Procedures for the swearing in of the parties for the planning and zoning and quasi-judicial items will be explained by the City Clerk. The members of the City Commission appearing for this meeting are Alex Diaz de la Portilla, Joe Carollo, Manolo Reyes, Jeffrey Watson, and me, Ken Russell. Also appearing are City Manager Art Noriega, City Attorney Victoria Mendez, and City Clerk Todd Hannon. I'll save the pledge and prayer for when we have a fuller dais. In the meantime, Mr. City Attorney, would you please state the procedures for the meeting?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Any person who is a lobbyist pursuant to Chapter 2, Article 6 of the City Code must register with the City Clerk and comply with related city requirements for lobbyists before appearing before the City Commission. A person may not lobby a city official, board member, or staff member until registering. A copy of the code section about lobbyists is available in the City Clerk's office or online at municode.com. Any person making a presentation, formal request, or petition to the City Commission concerning real property must make the disclosures required by the City Code in writing. A copy of the City Code section is available at the office of the City Clerk online at municode.com. The City of Miami requires that anyone requesting action by the City Commission must disclose before their hearing any consideration provided or committed to anyone for agreement to support or withhold objection to the requested action pursuant to Section 2-8 of the City Code. Any documents offered by the City Commissioners that have not been provided 7 days before the meeting as part of the agenda materials will be entered into the record at the City Commission's discretion. If any City Commissioner thinks the documents supplied to the Commission fewer than 7 days before merit a continuance, the item may be continued by the City Commission. Pursuant to Section 2-33, subsection F and subsection G of the City Code, the agenda and the material for each item on the agenda is available during business hours at the City Clerk's office and online 24 hours a day at miamigov.com. Any person may be heard by the City Commission through the chair for not more than 2 minutes on any proposition before the City Commission, unless modified by the chair. Public comment will begin when the City Commission chair opens the public comment period and will be closed by the chairperson. Members of the public wishing to address the body may do so by submitting written comments via the online comment form. Please visit www.miamigov.com/meeting instructions for detailed instructions on how to provide public comment using the online public comment form. The public comments submitted through the comment form have been and will be distributed to the elected officials and city's administration throughout the day so that the elected officials can consider the comments prior to taking any action. Additionally, the online comment form will remain open during the meeting to accept comments and distribute to the elected officials up until the time the chairperson closes the public comment period. Public comment may also be provided live at City Hall at 3500 Pan American Drive, Miami, Florida, subject to any and all city rules that may be amended. If the proposition is being continued or rescheduled, the opportunity to be heard may be at such later date before the City Commission takes action on such proposition. When addressing the City Commission, the member of the public must first state his or her name, his or her address, and what item will be spoken about. Any person with a disability requiring assistance, auxiliary aids, and services for the meeting may notify the City Clerk. The City has provided different public comment methods to indicate, among other things, the public support, opposition, or neutrality on the items and topics to be discussed at today's City Commission meeting, pursuant to Section 286.014, Subsection 4, Subsection C of Florida statutes. The public has been given the opportunity to provide public comment during the meeting within reasonable proximity and time before the meeting. Please note, Commissioners have generally been briefed by City staff and the City Attorney on items on the agenda today. Anyone wishing to appeal any decision made by the City Commission for any matter considered at this meeting may need a verbatim record of this item. A video of this meeting may be requested at the Office of Communications or viewed online at miamigov.com. Planning and zoning items shall proceed according to Section 7.1.4 of the Miami 21 Zoning Code as temporarily modified pursuant to Emergency Ordinance numbers 13903 and 13914. Pursuant to the emergency ordinances, parties for any PZ items, including any applicant, appellant, appellee, city staff, and any person recognized by the decision-making bodies, a qualified intervener, as well as the applicant's representatives and any experts testifying on behalf of the applicant, appellant, or appellee, may either be physically present at City Hall to be sworn in by oath or affirmation by the City Clerk, or may appear virtually and make arrangements to be sworn in by oath or affirmation in person at their location by an individual qualified to perform such duty. Pursuant to Ordinance Number 13903, members of the general public who are not parties to an action pending before the City Commission are not required to be sworn in by oath or affirmation. The members of the City Commission shall disclose any ex parte communications to remove the presumption of prejudice pursuant to Florida Statute Section 286.015 and Section 7.1.4.5 of the Miami 21 Zoning Code. Staff will briefly present each item to be heard. For applications requiring City Commission approval, the applicant will present its application request to the City Commission. If the applicant agrees with the staff's recommendation, the City Commission may proceed to its deliberation and decision. The applicant may also waive the right to an evidentiary hearing on the record. The order of presentation shall be as set forth in Miami 21 and the City Code, providing the appellant shall present first. For appeals, the appellant will present its appeal to the City Commission, followed by appellee. Staff will be allowed to make any recommendation they may have. Please silence all cell phones and other noise-making devices. This meeting can be viewed live on miamitv.com at miamigov.com/TV, the city's Facebook page, the city's Twitter page, the city's YouTube channel, and Comcast Channel 77. The broadcast will also have closed captioning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning, Mr. Clerk.
Thank you, Chair. The procedures for individuals who will be providing testimony to be sworn in for planning and zoning items and any quasi-judicial items on today's City Commission agenda will be as follows. The members of city staff or any other individuals required to be sworn in who are currently present at City Hall will be sworn in by me, the City Clerk, immediately after I finish explaining these procedures. Those individuals who are appearing remotely may be sworn in now or at any time prior to the individual providing testimony for planning and zoning items and/or quasi-judicial items. Pursuant to Emergency Ordinance Number 13903, those individuals appearing remotely may be sworn in at their location by an individual qualified to administer the oath. After you're sworn in, please be sure to complete, sign, and notarize the affidavit provided to you by the City Attorney's Office. Each individual who will provide testimony must be sworn in and execute an affidavit. Please email a scanned version of the signed affidavit to the City Clerk at thannon@mymygov.com prior to providing testimony on the planning and zoning item and/or quasi-judicial item. The affidavit shall be included in the record for the relevant item for which you will be providing testimony. Commissioners, are you comfortable with all the notice provisions set forth in these uniform procedures we have established for this meeting?
Yes, Mr. Clerk, thank you.
Chair, is it okay if I administer the oath for the planning and zoning items?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. If we will be speaking on any of today's planning and zoning items, may I please have you stand and raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you will be providing at today's meeting is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. And if everyone would please stand, we'll give the Pledge of Allegiance and a prayer led by our mayor. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Lord, make us an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let us sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that we may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen.
Thank you. You may be seated. All right, we have a big day ahead of us. I'm working on getting us a quorum and a full dais. I've been in touch with commissioner offices. I understand one has a family issue, medical issue, but will be here, just running a little bit late, and another one's just a little behind. They are able to listen and see us right now as we speak, even though they aren't with us physically from their offices and even their cars. So we are able to continue with the non-quorum related items. And for that, I'd like to start with public comment. And here's what we're going to do, because today we have, I can't even count how many meetings we have today. We have our regular agenda. We also have our 3 CRA meetings around the lunchtime. And then budget hearing doesn't start until 5 p.m. So those who are here to speak on public hearing on the budget, that will be the time when your comments will be recorded for the budget, right? So you don't want to speak this morning about the budget. You want to wait and speak about this morning's agenda items here today. But I will start with protocol items. I believe, Mr. Mayor and Eddie, do we have protocol items this morning?
Yes, we do.
All right, so before we take on public comment, we'll go ahead with the protocol. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me move the chairs.
Yeah. So the first one is a certificate of merit presented to Richard Otruba, and our city attorney is here as well. Yes. Good. This is In recognition of his excellent service, the City of Miami issues this certificate of merit. Mr. Otruba joined the Office of the City Attorney in 1999. He is presently assigned to the Labor and Employment Division, where he handles workers' compensation matters. Prior to joining the city, Mr. Otruba represented plaintiffs and claimants in personal injury and workers' compensation litigation, and represented a broad range of clients in commercial litigation and corporate and transactional matters. He received his Juris Doctorate in 1988 from St. Thomas University School of Law and his Bachelor's of Arts in 1984 from New College. Mr. Otruba has been a tremendous asset to the Office of the City Attorney and the City of Miami, and we wish him the best as he enters into his next chapter. Richard, I just want to say that this has never happened to me before in 12 years. I actually cut my finger cutting a ribbon, so it's a workers' comp claim, and I just want to make sure that I'm going to be covered. You can handle it? Okay, good. Awesome. Congratulations. Thank you so much for your dedication to our city.
Richard, thank you for all your dedication to the Office of the City Attorney. We will definitely miss you, and thank you for all you've done. And I hope you're going to say a few words.
Thank you, Madam City Attorney, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. It's been an honor working for the City of Miami as a public servant. I've enjoyed working under Vicky Mendez. I'm very honored that some of my colleagues have come for this event as well. And it's going to be an adjustment. I've been here for 22 years, a good portion of my career. You know, some of us work in the background. I've been handling litigation for all my career, and I guess it's a good thing if I'm not here before the commission on a litigation matter. So perhaps the fact that you haven't seen me very much is a good thing for the city. Other than that, thank you all very much, and thank you, Vicki.
The other members of the City Attorney's Office, if they can come up here and join the picture, please. It's okay. He makes us all laugh. Chief. The next set of honorees are a very special group of men and women. And I'm asking Chief Sarabin to come up and help me with this, with these recognitions, certificates of merit. All of us remember where we were when the 9/11 towers came down. I'm sure most of us remember that Thursday morning when they got word that the Champlain Towers had fallen. What many of you may not know, or may not remember, is those who are called minutes after these terrible tragedies, in the case of Champlain, in the case of the earthquakes in Haiti, in the case of Dorian in the Bahamas. And the sacrifice and the danger that they put themselves through for hours and hours and days and months in some cases. There's a reason why we send them off, and there's a reason why we're there when they return. They are true heroes, and as some of the tragedies, the individual stories and tragedies, including the loss of the child of one of our own firefighters, became public, one of the thoughts that I kept having was, if God forbid my wife, my children were trapped in those towers, there's no one and no team that I would have rather have had, and there was nothing that could have comforted me more than knowing that they were there working the pile. Our chief, who is a phenomenal leader, would often remind me, and the few times that I went and the few times that I spoke to the press, he would say, please, please, Mr. Mayor, don't say that we're the best. And I would respect his request, as I respected all his other requests in terms of maintaining privacy and maintaining the dignity of the professionals that work for our city and do it in a selfless way. But I can't help taking this moment to recognize that in my mind and in my heart and in my soul, I feel that they are the best. I think that they're the best hope for any victims of any tragedy, and they work with that knowledge. And I can see it in their eyes when they're beginning their shift, and I can see it in their eyes when they end their shift. There is a steely determination to not give up, and that the next minute is the minute where they're going to find someone and where they're going to rescue someone. There's a determination that is unbendable. And so I want to thank them for their service. Some of them are here, and I know we have, I think, 70 certificates, but today we're going to give out the ones for those who are here. And I'll just read out the names. I'll read out what their certificate says. I'll read out the names, and I want to let my colleagues. You want to handle it?
No.
Okay, great. And I want to let my colleagues have an opportunity and the chief to say a few words. It essentially says, in recognition of their excellent service, the City of Miami issues these certificates of merit to thank you for your service and recovery efforts in the Surfside condominium building tragedy. I am confident that you will continue to excel and serve our community to advance our quality of life and contribute to Miami. Chief, do you want me to call him up first? Do you want to say a few words first? Luis Acosta. Marcus Antelo. Gustavo Arellano. Thank you, brother. Kian Atai. Joseph Barber. Dennis Bermudez. Javier Blanco. Scott Dean. Christopher Dudot. Appreciate it. God bless you. Alejandro Fernandez. Carlos Garcia. Yendi Gonzalez. Noah Jackson. Grant Musser. Juan Patron. Robert Pons. Alain Rodriguez. Eric Riojas, Pedro Soto, and Eric Sanchez. And if I missed you, please come up. For some reason, there may be, there we go, here we go. I'm sorry. Yeah. Carlos Soldevia and Nicholas Wool. Chief. And actually, you know what, let me let the, if you don't mind, let me have Vice Chair, and then,
You know, good morning. You know, it's great when certain positions carry certain distinctions. I asked the chief to do something and he denied me because it was their job. That's what he said to me. Now the mayor now does something that makes it seem like I'm not thankful. To all those men who helped saved me. So I talk about all the other things, helped saved me. I thank you. And I'm going to do something to thank them, whether chief let me do it or not. I will find out who they are, and I'm going to thank them, because if the mayor can thank them, then I'm going to thank them too. That being said, they do an enormous job. No one even understands, and most of us never appreciate. But clearly, I have the utmost respect, whether they are rescuing a dog or a cat in a tree or saving the countless lives that they save. Thank you for the job you do. Thank you for what you've done to deserve your honor, and I appreciate you every day. Thank you.
We are very lucky in the city of Miami. We have the best fire department in the world. And I thank you all for the service that you provide to every single one of our residents. I witness their job and how dedicated they are, and how they are not selfish at all. They risk their life trying to save other people's lives. When Hurricane Michael devastated Mexico Beach, they were there. And I said, I'm going to go on and bring my support. And I couldn't feel more proud than what I saw there. Their professionalism, their total commitment to doing the right thing and save people. I mean, it was amazing. It really impacted me. That is why I thank you guys for what you do. And this is a little token. You deserve more than this. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Chief, you're doing a great job.
Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, Mayor. For those of you who don't know the difference here, you've got our City of Miami Fire Department, but you'll notice the gentlemen up here, the ladies and gentlemen, there should be ladies amongst us because there's definitely women on our USAR team, are not wearing a Miami uniform today. You don't even see the word Miami listed on their uniform. That is because they are a deployment of the federal government under FEMA. This is a USAR, Urban Search and Rescue Task Force, of which there are various throughout the state, and this is Task Force 2 of the state. And of that task force, of the 70 to 80 folks on that task force, half of them are City of Miami employees, and the other half are taken from the best of the best that are recruited from other fire departments around the state. And so it's a very diverse group, and the chief specifically wanted it that way. And even though he's wearing his City of Miami whites today, he is actually also the head of Task Force 2 under FEMA's funding to deploy this team, all 80 of them from the various. And so it's an amazing diverse team, and what they do is absolutely incredible. So you've got a ninja warrior team up here of the best of the best. And so it's an honor to have seen you all in action over these last months and years in everything that you do for our country. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Chief. So this group, we had hoped to actually recognize them a few weeks ago, actually our last meeting, but they got deployed. This is their busy season, unfortunately, right? So this is the time of year when they're sort of on standby and on call to sort of be deployed out to any potential emergency anywhere in the country. And so they're still kind of on alert. So, you know, this opportunity to recognize them comes sort of special to me in particular because I've obviously, as some of our elected officials have, and the chief, I've seen it firsthand, the kind of work that they do. It's not emotionless work. They're very invested in what they do. You can see it when they came back off deployment from Surfside. You know, it was very emotional for them to sort of get reconnected with their family and friends. I was lucky enough to sort of witness that firsthand. And I couldn't be more thankful, right, that they're members of our department. And they represent the city well, but they represent also what's best about our community too, right? Because they get deployed out to other parts of the country and the world for that matter, because they've been in Haiti too, and that experience was profound for all of them for a lot of different reasons. So thanks is just never enough in and of itself. It really isn't. But whatever little opportunity we get to recognize them and thank them, you know, I felt it was important to do that, and so did our elected officials. So, gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you again for everything you do.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, Mr. Manager, Commissioners, thank you for this recognition. And just want to touch on a couple things real briefly and elaborate on what one of the commissioners were saying as far as the structure of the team. The federal government many years ago had asked fire departments to become partners with them and create these specialized teams that could respond anywhere to virtually anything. There are 28 of these teams in the nation. Of those 28 teams, there are only 2 in the state of Florida. The South Florida community is very fortunate in that one of those teams are housed right here in the city of Miami, the other one in Miami-Dade County. So both teams in the state of Florida are right here in our backyard. Each team across the country is identical. Although you see 20 or so people up here, this team is 210 strong. And although we are primarily paramedics and firefighters, we are not only paramedics and firefighters. We are doctors, we are engineers, we are canine handlers that in their day job are school teachers. So this is really a group that represents the community as a whole that have committed to training an ungodly amount of hours in order to be the true best of the best. And yes, as the mayor said, I always ask him, do not say that they are the best. I know they're the best, you know they're the best, but we don't want them to know they're the best. Why? Because as important as it is to be at the top of your game, as important as it is to be exceptional at what you do, it's also important to demonstrate a level of humility. Why? Because when we go out into the community and we say, this is who we are, this is what we do, what can we do to help you? It's important that they are able to trust us. And with humility, many times comes trust. So no matter how good we are, no matter how hard they work, that it is always drilled into them that the most important thing for you to do after you have learned everything there is to know about your job is to be humble. And I am proud to say that they demonstrate that every single day. So as the fire chief, I couldn't be more proud to lead a team of men and women that are so good at their craft and so humble when they perform it. So from me to you, thank you very much for everything you do. And Mr. Manager, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, again, thank you again for the support. And I will mention one thing and make a promise to all of you and say it in front of everybody. I know that I haven't gotten you as a larger warehouse yet, but I'm going to work together with the city manager and with our elected officials, and we will get that done. You will have a larger warehouse because I know it's busting at the seams. Thank you.
All right, everyone, thank you for your patience. Here's my hope of how we can keep today as efficient and organized as possible with a regular agenda, a planning and zoning agenda, 3 CRA meetings, and a budget hearing that starts at 5. My recommendation, gentlemen, is going to be to order in lunch. If we take a 3-hour break at noon and come back at 3, we may not get to the budget hearing until 6 or 7. So if your staffs are open to that, my goal would be to power through. Public comment first.
Are you buying?
If you're eating what I'm buying, then yes.
No, you said order. Well, I just want to know what can I order.
Put it in with my team. Sushi for everyone. So that's the objective. Of course, it's the will of this commission what we have the capacity to take on. But I will go ahead and start with public comment. And here's how we're going to do this. Please, a reminder, if you're here to speak on the budget. Yes, Mr. Clerk.
Friendly reminder regarding the mayoral veto.
Yes. I was going to wait and see if we can get the full dais here before the veto is held. Commissioner Carollo is dealing with a family medical issue, but says he'll be here relatively soon.
I don't mind taking it up right now.
That's absolutely fine. Mr.
Okay.
Clerk, if you'd read the statement for the veto, please.
Thank you, Chair. Mayor Suarez has vetoed resolution R-21-0327 that was passed at the July 22nd, 2021 City Commission meeting. Resolution R-21-0327 is a resolution of the Miami City Commission with attachment approving, setting forth, and submitting to the electorate a proposed amendment to the Charter of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended by amending Section 26 titled Suspension and Removal of Chief of Police and Fire Chief to set forth the procedure commencing in November 2021 for selecting and appointing the positions of Chief of Police and Fire Rescue Chief, calling for and providing that the proposed charter amendment be submitted to the electorate at the referendum special election to be held concurrently with the City of Miami's general municipal election scheduled for November 2nd, 2021, designating and appointing the city clerk as the official representative of the City Commission with respect to the use of voter registration books and records, further directing the city clerk to cause a certified copy of this resolution to be delivered to the supervisor of elections of Miami-Dade County not less than 45 days prior to the date of such election, providing an immediate effective date. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Is there a motion regarding the mayoral veto?
Let me make clear that if we override this veto right now, el veto, there's no time to place it on the ballot. Very smart of you, Mr. Mayor. Very tricky. Everybody was out. Okay. I stand by my proposal that we should have a process to select the city chief of police and the city fire chief. And we should take out any political interference. We should do it professionally. And my proposal was to select those 2 positions based on a process that will be as follows. A committee will be formed with residents and professionals and the field, ex-police officers, fire chiefs, attorneys, state attorneys, people that they are knowledgeable of the public safety. You see, in my opinion, public safety is the most important service that we provide our city. Therefore, what I want to do, and I promise you I'm not going to stop here, I'm going to keep on doing it until we pass this, until we get and we establish a process, you see? And that process, that selection committee will vet and interview every single one of the people that applied to the position. And it will recommend 3 candidates, the top 3 candidates, regardless where they come from. 3 candidates. and the city manager should pick from those three candidates. The city manager should not pick the one that the mayor tell him to pick. You see? And let's be clear about this, and I always, you know that I don't hold my punches. I never hold my punches. I call it like I see it. Historically, the police chief as well as the fire chief has been picked by the mayors. Not only this mayor, all the previous mayors, because that's the way the system was established. You see?
Excuse me. When I was mayor,
No, you didn't.
I never picked the police chief. I don't know about any other mayors, but I
Okay.
never picked the police chief.
Every mayor but Carollo. Okay? Every mayor but Mayor Carollo.
Is that including Mr. Regalado or not?
Including Mr. Regalado. Including Mr. Regalado. Okay? And what I want to do, and it's nothing wrong with that, but that's a system that allows favoritism, people that you want, people that you like, people that you have. It's not based on expertise, on qualification. You see, it could be, but if we leave it like that, it's going to come a time that we're going to have somebody picked that doesn't know what they're doing, and it's going to hurt the population and the residents. And that's why I presented that, and that's why I wanted the people of Miami to vote in favor. The mayor has his problems, and we spoke. We had spoke. And he has committed himself to work with the commission, not with me only, with the commission, in order to establish a process that it is totally detached from politics. And I promise you guys, and I promise this city, that if we don't agree, next election, it will be on the ballot. I will present it again, and Mayor can override it, and I hope that at that time I will have support of the commission to override that veto if it happens again. Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner. Is there a motion? The
The-
mayoral veto is the issue on the table.
Okay, so we're voting on the veto,
We're voting, or
There is
we
no
are not?
motion at this point.
There's no motion.
okay? No.
Let's override it, but we don't have even the quorum. But the motion is, let the veto stand, let's work on it. Okay? Let's work on it. All of us. I want all of us to be part of it.
Thank you. To allow the veto to stand, no motion is necessary. Mr.
Okay, that's right.
Commissioner Corey, you're recognized.
Thank you. I'm glad that we're taking that decision today because, frankly, as well-intentioned as this charter change was, it is far from what I originally started talking about. And we need both the legislative branch and the executive branch of government to be involved. I think that we're basically all in agreement that we are going to have to implement a process for the future, at least put it before the people of Miami so they can decide. Very clear and transparent, professional process. And at the same time, it's got to be a process that no police chief, no fire chief feel that they are so insulated that they're in their own island and that their actions will not have consequences by this body also. So I think it's good that we're leaving this aside. We have elections next year. I think the first will be in August, where any referendum that we put up, any charter change, will not cost us any additional dollars by holding an election on his own. So we will have plenty of time between now and then to come up with a constructive process to present to the voters.
Okay,
Thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Mayor, you're recognized.
fair enough.
I just want to briefly agree with what both commissioners have said. I've had an opportunity to speak with many of you on this, and I think that a collaborative process to come up with something that we all feel comfortable with, where everyone is involved and making sure that it is a professional process. And I just want to touch on one thing that the commissioner said. I think that there has to be accountability after the fact, right? And so it's not just about selecting a chief, it's also about having accountability mechanisms after the fact.
Great.
And I think that's important as well, and I think that should also be taken into account with whatever we put together. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, and I think that's like Forrest Gump said, you know, that's all to talk. That's all to say about this. There's nothing that we have to say. Okay, that's all we have to talk. Okay, Ms. Chair, I have a resolution which is
Pocket item?
pocket.
I'm going to get to that in just a second.
A pocket resolution. Okay.
Okay, so Mr. Manager, what I'd like to do now is take up the order of the day. I'll take up the items the administration would like to see deferred or continued. Then I'll take up any deferrals from the body, and then I'd like to add in any pocket items to our agenda that commissioners would like to add.
If I could,
Sir.
Chair, I'd like for us to take one item out of order. We have the Consul General of Honduras is here with us today, and a very sizable group of the Hondurans community and leadership in Miami. And if we could take FR1 as the first item of the day, I would appreciate it.
Absolutely. Would you like to do that at this point before we do the rest of the order?
If we
That's
could,
fine.
I would appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'll take that as a motion on FR1.
There's a motion on FR1.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Watson. Is there anyone who would like to comment on this item from the public? Just for this item, which is the renaming of Riverside Park to Jose Francisco Morazan Quesada Park. Is there anyone here who would like to speak on this item?
Great patriot.
Seeing none, I'll close public comment.
Great patriot.
Yes,
It's,
you're recognized. Just a moment. Go ahead.
This is not my 2 minutes of public.
This is 2 minutes, yes. But if
This
you
is-
have other items to speak on, you'll be able to come back.
Okay, thank you. Good morning to all. I really appreciate the commission to do this new renaming of the park. Even though I am a resident of the District 3, I never was part of it. I was not even asked for it to be part of it, but I am grateful because that's my country that I born. So thank you so much, especially for all of you who are going to vote in favor to name the park as a Jose Francisco Morazan Quesada. Because even though people might not realize I'm from Honduras.
yes.
So thank you so much because actually now on after I'm being here almost 30 years, and the first time, we actually, after Bruno Moreno did an announcement of 20th of July being as a Honduran date, and the governor did last week, September 15, after independence of Central America, technically we never existed before. So thank you, because now you're recognizing that we are here, that we are part of the community, that we vote. And I live in the District 3 of the city of Miami. So thank you, Manolo, like always. Thank you.
Let me add to that there's great population and a very hardworking population of Hondurans in Miami and in our city particularly, and they have to be recognized. I, for one, I have visited the Francisco Morazan Avenue, and I had my share of drinks and also food in that beautiful avenue that every Cuban that goes there will witness statue. One of the first statue is Jose Marti. It's Jose Martilla, and I was very proud when I saw it, and I felt very close to Honduras because of that. And besides that, my father was able to leave Cuba through the Honduran embassy. They opened up the doors for my father to get in, and they opened up their arms when my father got to Honduras, and then until he could come to Miami.
But thank you. Thank you, because it's important for those who live actually in the area to be asked about it. Even though it's a great thing. Thank you so much, Commissioner Carollo. But I live in District 3. I vote in District 3. I should be one of those who were part of this park. But thank you.
Gracias.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here who'd like to speak at public comment on this item?
Good morning, commissioners, mayors, all the publics and organizations. I'm from Ecuador, and I'm here to speak about Honduras because since 20 years ago, I've been working with Francisco Portillo, who was the president of Francisco Morazan organization. I was one of the leaders. I support them to do the PTS. And I respect when people stated we are part of this community, part of this country, part of this kind of the services, but I do really want to appreciate every commissioner, Commissioner Joey Carollo, Commissioner Manolo Reyes, Commissioner Ken Russo, Commissioner De La Portilla, Commissioner Watson, because you guys as leaders, in my experience, I know you always call the community. And I know you've been calling the District 3 to be part of this process. And I'm here to support all the Honduras people, all the Hondureños people. You know why? Because all the people deserve the part there. All the people been working hard there. And here we are together just to support each other and to appreciate all the job you guys doing for the community. It's no politician stop. It's to be part, to succeed, to do great things together. And again, I do really appreciate Joey Carollo, Commissioner, because you don't think about Honduras, Ecuador, Salvador, Guatemala. You're always there for the people when they need you. You're always there, Manolo Reyes, when the people call you. And I know that because I'm working for all organizations. I'm working for all the people since 30 years ago when I came as immigrant. And I would really want to appreciate our embassy from Honduras. We've been working since the disaster to help our people in Honduras. I said our people because as an immigrant, I think I'm part of any country that they need our help. I want to appreciate all the support, and I want to thank you again. We are here to grow up. We are here to keep going. We are here to support each other. Thank you. Have a blessed day, everyone.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else here who would like to speak at public comment on this item? Seeing none, I'll close public comment.
And we ask, first of all, I'd like to welcome the Consul General of Honduras that's here with us today. Thank you very much, sir, for being here with us. If you would like to say a few words, English or Spanish, you're certainly welcome.
Of course, you're very welcome.
Hello, good morning. My name is Jose Roberto Diaz. I would like to try in Spanish because it's a very good moment. Yo represento el consulado, el gobierno de Honduras, y estamos muy contentos de recibir este enorme regalo. Casualmente...
Por favor, un momento. Do we have a translator in the house?
Yes, sir.
Disculpa. If you would like to stand at this lectern, you'll be able to...
Okay.
I try in English.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
En conmemoración a los 200 años de independencia de Centroamérica y de Honduras,
In commemoration, in commemoration for the 200 years of independence of Honduras,
estamos altamente agradecidos con la ciudad de Miami,
we're very appreciative of the city of Miami,
con el alcalde
with the mayor
y los comisionados,
and the commissioners,
particularmente con el comisionado Carollo,
particularly with Commissioner Carollo.
que tiene una intención muy agradable para con los hondureños.
He had a big part with the Honduran people.
Ahora representamos casi la tercera comunidad en la ciudad de Miami
We represent the third community in the city of Miami,
y estamos comprometidos en seguir desarrollando esta ciudad,
and we're committed to continue to develop this city,
la cultura
the culture.
y el deseo de hermandad con los demás países.
Can you repeat that one more time?
Deseo de hermandad.
And the wish to work together with the rest of the community.
En nombre del gobierno de Honduras, no me queda más que agradecerle por este gran gesto.
On behalf of the Honduran government, I'm very appreciative of this gesture.
En nombre de toda la comunidad hondureña residente en Miami, tener nuestro parque será nuestro hogar a partir de este momento y es un momento histórico para Honduras porque es la primera vez que se tiene un parque en nombre del país.
On the name of all the Honduran population here, we welcome this city as our home for this first park in name of our city.
El general Francisco Morazán tenía una idea de unidad de toda Centroamérica y para nosotros es un enorme placer y orgullo que podamos tener el nombre del general en la ciudad de Miami. Muy agradecidos.
General Francisco Morazan was all about unity in Central America. So, one more time, sorry, can you repeat the last part?
Very thankful.
We're very thankful for this opportunity, and on the name of General Francisco Morazan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Gracias a ustedes. Is there anyone on the dais who'd like to comment on this item? Microphone.
I would, Mr. Chairman. I would assume that most people don't remember that Central America was once a very proud country, not the different countries like they are today that comprise Central America. The president that country of Central America had was precisely Jose Francisco Morazon Quesada. General Morazon was called by Jose Marti the Simón Bolívar of Central America. Marti was a great admirer of the general. Central America now are a series of proud also individual countries. But at one time, it was a very united one country of Central America, led by this great man that was born in Honduras. Since I was first elected, going back almost 4 years ago, how time has passed, I worked with the Honduran community, just like I worked with other communities in my district. And I worked with the highest of the leadership to the most humble of our residents in the same way. Because I've always felt that you treat people the way that you would like to be treated yourself, because always you're going to meet the same people on your way down that you met on your way up in this part of life. Life is an up and down endeavor, and we should deal with as much respect and compassion that we can with individuals. Having said that, this is why from the very beginning that I was elected, when I saw that the parks that we had in parts of Little Havana, that is called Little Havana, but it has a great Central American population, mainly Honduran and Nicaraguan. when I saw the state of the parks that we had, that were the parks in the city of Miami in the worst state, with the oldest playgrounds, the oldest equipment, I made sure that that would change. And today, in Jose Marti Park, a neighborhood that while still you have a lot of Cubans live around, you have a tremendous, if not majority, of the residents around that are Central American. And many of those, if not a majority, from Honduras. The same of the old Riverside Park, now the General Morazon Park, that had one of the oldest playgrounds in the whole city. Now, it's got the newest that just recently opened with a baseball field that's being completely redone with the help of the Marlins. We put new lights all throughout it, many other things that we've done there, and more that we're going to do. Central Matter, which was around when I was and founded when I was a very young commissioner in my 20s, and which I supported very much when I was mayor. Central Matter is right in the heart of a community that's majority Central American, Hondurans, Nicaraguans, from Salvador and others. I have made sure that Central Matter receives a lion's share of the dollars that come from my office, because while there's not a single family there that sends kids that has a single vote, because they are the most neediest, the poorest of the families that we have in our area. These are children that deserve, and we also have an obligation to make sure that we could provide the best education, the best care for them. And this is why I have put them each year with a substantial amount of dollars from my office so that we could help close to 700 families that have children there, the most needy in our community. Now, I thank all of those that have worked with me, my office, the city of Miami throughout these years. And I apologize if anyone feels that they needed to be counted for any steps that we would take. But frankly, I don't deal with egos. I don't care about those that feel that they're very important and well-known in their own home. I deal with what's right for our community, and this is why, since day one, I've been taking these steps and many more that I won't even mention here in our community, where Morazon Park is at, where Jose Marti Park is at, where Henderson Park is at, and getting ahead of myself, we are going to have 4 new parks, sizable parks, in District 3, the district that has had the least amount of parks in all of the city of Miami. One of those parks, I will come to this commission and propose that it be named Ruben Dario. It's a park that, while it's in District 3, it's right next door to District 1 and right close to District 4. And that would be in the very near future that that announcement will be made.
That's good news. Thank you, Commissioner. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak on FR1?
I just want to add to what Commissioner Carollo is saying about the influence that and the partnership that Cuba and Honduras had. I want to remind all of the Hondurans here, you might not know, Antonio Maceo was the commander of the garrison in Puerto Cortés when after the 10-year war. And in my trip to Honduras, I went from Danlí to Omoa, Puerto Cortés. I went through most part of the country, and I was staying in Muchilena, a friend of mine. He owns a house next to the sea, and here comes this lady that she learned that a Cuban was there, and that lady was a niece, an old lady, a niece of Antonio Maceo, that she stayed in Honduras. And she had traveled to Cuba and received all the honors and all of that, but she came back to Honduras and her family is there. And she's a descendant of one of the greatest generals, not only in the Cuban Independence War, in the history of I would say it in military history, he had been even studying at West Point, his tactics and techniques. And I just wanted to bring that up. There was always great cooperation between Honduras and Cuba for the freedom of Cuba.
Gracias. Thank you. Mr. Mayor.
Just real brief, I just want to commend the commissioner. We've been talking about this for a long time. He has really focused on wanting to do some, you can call it rebranding if you want, renaming some parks that really better correlate with some of the communities that are now in his district, in the city, and are really making a significant impact. And so, we've been talking about this for a while. I know sometimes we both are frustrated that the wheels of government don't turn quite as fast as we would like them to.
Yeah.
But it's a promise that he made and a promise that he's delivered on. And so, you have to commend him for that.
Thank you.
Council General, I have to say that if it weren't for the strong support that I have received from Mayor Francis Suarez, we would not be here today. We would still be in the drawing boards. So I think that the mayor deserves a big round of applause also for the effort and work that he has done for this park, for General Morazon, and for the other parks that we are working on. Remember, I mentioned one name, but there's 4 more big parks that are coming. So I don't want to overextend myself. I said enough.
We take them one day at a time. We take them one day at a time.
Yeah, one park at a time. Thank you all very much for coming. May I suggest, Council General, if you could honor us on such an important day for not just the Honduran community in Miami, but for the city of Miami as a whole. And if we could take a picture with you and this whole group from the community up front here with the mayor and city
let's make
commissioner.
sure we've got the votes here
That's
to
right.
pass this first. I think
make
you're
sure
safe,
we're
but
passing.
in the meantime, let's have the city attorney please read the item into this is a first reading ordinance, please.
An ordinance of the Miami City Commission renaming the park at 342 Southwest 7th Avenue, Miami, Florida, currently known as Riverside Park, as Jose Francisco Morazan Quesada Park, amending Chapter 38, Article 1 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, titled Parks and Recreation in General, by creating Section 38-28, titled Naming of Jose Francisco Morazan Quesada Park, further directing the city manager to take any and all actions necessary to effectuate the renaming of the park, containing a severability clause and providing for an effective date.
All in favor of the item say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously on first reading. Thank you. Let's take that photo now.
Thank you.
We're just going to do a quick photo down front. with the elected officials and those who are visiting. All right, we are going to get on to the order of the day now and set the agenda and then move to public comment. All right, Mr. Manager, moving to the order of the day, are there any items that the administration would like to see continued, deferred, or withdrawn?
Good morning, Mr. Vice Chair, Commissioners, Madam City Attorney, Mr. City Clerk. At this time, the administration would like to defer and or withdraw the following items. RE2, which is the ASME 1907 collective bargaining agreement, to be deferred to the September 23rd meeting. RE3, which is the reimbursement funds for Tranche 2, Miami Forever Affordable Housing, to be withdrawn. RE4, the redevelopment plan, to be deferred to September 23rd. RE8, which is the approve the hire of the President CEO of the Little Haiti Revitalization Trust, to be deferred to September 23rd. RE9, which is direction to the city manager reference liens, to be withdrawn. And FR3, which is the to amend the code, chapter 36 on noise, to be deferred to September 23rd. There is a PZ item as well, which is a zoning text amendment.
Excuse me. What
which
was
is
the
also
last
to be
two?
deferred.
Mr. Manager, I'm sorry to interrupt you. The last two REs you said was what?
Sorry.
The last two
Absolutely.
REs? The last two REs. After
On the
8.
liens, to be
No,
with
after R8, which was the last two?
the
RE8 and RE9.
RE8, RE9.
RE9, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Manager, what is the reason for request of deferral for the ratification of Local 1907 collective bargaining agreement?
There's some additional due diligence that's been requested of us relative to some of the data. So we're still putting some of that together, so we're going to just defer it one meeting.
You recognize, Commissioner?
I missed it because I was talking to the
Yes.
other commissioner.
We'll go through the list again.
No,
but-
I only the last part, the collective bargaining agreement.
Oh, yes. Could you expand a little further, please?
That's actually what I meant.
Yeah, there's some data that has been requested of us that we've been putting together from a couple of different commission offices relative to the contract and the impact as it relates to the budget. as well as the pension. So we're still putting some of that information together. That information obviously will be disseminated to everyone, but we need a little more time. So we just wanted to defer it for one more meeting.
Thank you. I didn't get any, I didn't hear at briefing that there was anything left yet to be negotiated. I had understood from staff that the agreement has been finalized at this point, and that's why it's before us. So what is the additional data you're looking for?
I mean, I can go through a list with you.
Well, I'm going to be to the point for me. I want a lot of financial information that I want to see. I'm hearing a lot of numbers all over the place, so I want to see what the reality is. Because if I'm going to vote for something, I want to be able to defend my position in the public. So I need to see what it is. It's that I'm hearing, and I don't want to get into a whole discussion here, but I'm hearing numbers that this is going to cost us $25 million in a year or two and stuff like that. So I want to see, for me, what is this going to cost us? Whether we vote on it today or later, it doesn't matter, because they voted on it and they can wait until we vote ourselves. So.
And I think we've been waiting, Commissioner, if I may, we've been waiting on this for about a year and a half or something like that.
At the very least.
At the very least. These negotiations, and then last week, in my briefing, I was told that everybody agreed. I know there's some issues that have surfaced. So my question is, why did it take so long to get all this financial data to us if you've been negotiating for so long?
Well,
and I'm interested in the data. Well, hold on. I'm interested in the data too. I just don't like to have a briefing, Mr. Manager, where I'm told something, and then the day of the commission meeting, I hear the additional, or the last 3 days really, a lot of information surfaced, and I wasn't privy to that information. Why is it taking you so long to keep us constantly updated on to what was going on, the progress of these negotiations?
May I?
I'm asking.
I'm sorry.
I want to know.
No, I just want to clarify something.
Remember, Commissioner, when I got here a year and a half ago, I said that I like finality, I like to move things. It's a very, I thought this contract and the other ones were going to be done quicker. And then all of a sudden, I thought we had landed the plane. And all of a sudden, actually, it was 4 or 5 days that all these things have come up. And why wasn't I briefed? I don't know what the commissioners were. When we were briefed last week, we were told that everything was fine and dandy, right? And then all of a sudden, everything started surfacing. What happened in that communication between your office and the commissioner's office?
Go ahead, Mr. Manager.
Yeah, I don't think there's a breakdown relative to the communication. The agreement took the amount of time it took because it takes 2 parties to come to terms on an agreement, right? So it's the administration and it's the union working. We worked very hard. There were periods of time where there were lulls. It was a very difficult, agreement to sort of come by, but we did finally agree to terms. I think as far as information is concerned, as information was requested of various offices, new information was presented. We certainly didn't hold back anything, but there was an additional due diligence requested by some of the commission offices. We provided that additional information. As a result, I think because of the late delivery of that information, because it was asked for sort of late in the process, I think that everybody wanted an opportunity, the commissioners that I spoke to, wanted an opportunity to vet it further, Commissioner Carrillo being one of them, and so we just decided it was better to postpone it for another 2 weeks, let everybody, digest the information that the additional information that was requested, and then at that point, the agreement can be considered. It's just a matter of when we were requested of information and, how it was presented. It's a lot of information, so ultimately, it's unfair, I think, for that information to be digested in a 24 to 48 hour period, so, that's why the request for the deferral.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Commissioner Reyes, did you want to comment on it?
That is fine.
Okay.
I did receive information, but numbers one day and a different information the other day. Later on, and I want really to clarify that I agree with it, that we want to see the final numbers also, because every time I receive conflicting figures you see. Okay?
Thank you. We'll leave it in the deferral, and for my part, if it were just the administration asking for this, I would take the same position as Commissioner Diaz-del Portilla and push it through. However, if it's commissioners who are crucial to the vote of its passage, I'm certainly willing to wait. I'm very thankful that the management has come to the table with our general employees labor union and worked very hard to get through some very broad differences. So I look forward to passing this in the next meeting. So we'll leave that in. And just to recap, Commissioners, the deferral requests from the administration are RE 2, 3, 4, 8, and 9.
RE
2, 3, 4,
4,
8, and 9.
and 9. These are all in the REs.
Yes, so far. And then FR 3, the noise ordinance amendment on city property, that is also being deferred.
Chair, my apologies, RE3 is to be withdrawn.
RE 3 is a withdrawal.
Yes, sir, that's my understanding.
Yes. Is that accurate?
So is the administration able to withdraw a commissioner's item?
The administration is requesting from the commission.
Yeah. Okay, that's
And
different.
it's up to the commission to decide whether or not they're going to withdraw the item.
I haven't been given any discussion from the administration during my briefing this past week that their suggestion was to withdraw. So is there a reason you'd like to see it go that way rather than work on this through a deferral?
It was a mayor item, the mayoral item. He presented it after further discussion and I guess, additional sort of strategy behind it with regards to not piecemealing the affordable housing tranche. And
No, not that one.
Which one?
FR 3. That's my item. And is that the one you were talking about?
RE3.
Oh, no, RE3.
RE3, not FR.
No, okay, sorry, I misunderstood. I thought you said FR3.
RE3.
Mr. Clerk. FR, so, okay, yes. So RE3 is a withdrawal, not a deferral. I apologize, I misheard you completely. No, RE3. Yes, it's a withdrawal.
And that withdrawal,
No, but it's a deferral. It's just a deferral to the next meeting.
But FR3 is deferred.
FR3 is deferred to the next meeting.
FR3 is deferred.
Yes.
To the next meeting.
RE3 is with.
RE3 is a withdrawal,
Yeah.
FR3 is a deferral.
Deferral.
Thank you. So yes, I read the REs that are, so it's RE2 for deferral, RE3 for withdrawal, RE4 for deferral, RE8 and RE9 for deferral. FR3 also for deferral by the administration.
Chair?
Yes, sir.
RE9 is to be withdrawn.
RE9 is also a withdrawal. I apologize, I wrote it down wrong. And I forgot my glasses today.
it's withdrawn?
RE,
Not a good time to forget your
You wanted
glasses.
us to come
It's
back.
budget day.
all right, and then
Yeah, bring it back.
PZ4 is also for deferral. So those are all of the administration's requests, am I correct?
And the deferral on PZ4 is to the October 28th meeting.
That changed, I believe you had said September 23rd before.
Yeah, I just was correct.
Okay, so it's October
28th.
October 28th.
And Chair, I do have a statement I need to read into the record regarding the deferral of PC4.
Yes, Mr. Clerk.
Pursuant to Section 62-22 of the City Code, and indefinitely deferred action initiated by the city will cost the city mail noticing, advertising, and posting of properties as applicable.
Thank you very much. Are there any items that the commission would like to see withdrawn, deferred, or continued?
Yes.
You recognize, Commissioner Thurman.
We could defer item RE7, St. James. I am given the time necessary to see if we come up with conclusion to this for the betterment of the people in Atalpata.
Thank you, Commissioner. That'll be, to what date, please?
Thank you, Commissioner.
No, I'm deferring it for the next meeting. They're going to come, I think, for a presentation.
Thank you.
Okay. I also would like to defer to the next meeting to give the city attorney the time to look at the legal parameters that I was just made aware,
Which item?
PH3. This is the FPL easement next to Pan American Drive. It's a substantial amount of property that we're given an easement on. And that was my original question when I was briefed, but the manager explained that it comes from all the way from 27th Avenue straight up. That's why it's a lot of land, even though it's not that wide. But it's been brought up to my attention that the tenant next door has claimed that in their contract, they have certain rights, and that part of this easement, unlike what I was led to believe, is not just in the other property that we have leased. Part of it goes into their property. So these are two projects that the city needs. One is already built and has been very successful. And I certainly don't want to do anything that can contribute to us receiving or the potential to receive less dollars into the future or to harm that project in any way. The second one is one that's also very important to the city and has not been built, and we need it to be built. So what I'm trying to do here is, since this is something that frankly surprised me, is have the time for the city law department to go through it, see if in fact what I have been led to believe is true, and if so, then we sit with the city manager and figure out how to get the easement that's going to be needed.
Commissioner, could we table the deferral until the item? It may end up getting very well deferred if there is unclarity, but my understanding from the city attorney's office, they have studied this. Both sides of the issue are here and probably ready to make their case and hash it out. So if Mr. Lima's side is correct and prevails, we would absolutely defer it.
Well, look,
If the other side, we really don't want to delay.
I really don't think this is an issue for one side to be making presentation over another. This is a legal issue that only our city law department should make that determination. Both of these sides, have conflicts of interest. They all have their own issues to deal with. So I don't want to, and especially a day like today, that we have so much in the agenda. I don't want to be putting an hour of time on this, and there's no need to deal with it today. We could deal with it, quickly at the next meeting, and this should be sufficient time for the city law department to look at this and give us an opinion. And if the other side is right in what I've been led to believe, then, with the manager, we have to find a quick way to get an easement through there. Because we can't have this property that's been sitting there for at least 6 years or more keep sitting there and doesn't get built. So that's all that I'm saying. This should be fairly quick.
Thank you, Commissioner Carollo. Madam City Attorney, I understand from Mr. Greco in your office that they've already analyzed this, that the easement does not affect the northern tenant, and that there is a judge order actually directing that easements be granted for this to move forward. Is that correct, or am I incorrect?
It's not exactly like that. We have looked at the issue. This is before there was an objection by
Mr. Lima.
Lima's group. So we have looked at it. We think this is something that can go forward. However, I understand the commissioner's issue. He wasn't briefed on this exactly, so
We're talking 2 weeks deferral, that nothing's going to change. And if we certainly have been waiting on this for 6 years or more, to make sure that we're standing in firm ground wherever this easement is going to go through. This is not, any kind of problem as I see it for a deferment.
Understood. Well,
Ms.
I
Chair.
certainly, in just a moment, Commissioner Reyes, for my part, and this is one of the most important parts of this district I serve, that has been, the RFP on this development was awarded before I even came into office, and I'm about to go out of office. And there's just a bunch of dirt being pushed around because of a lot of reasons. They're actually about to come to fruition with the first restaurants, and they'll be back in order, and I'm really excited to see that happen. But I do completely respect both sides of that border, because the tenant to the north is also he's a tenant in good standing with a very successful operation that's serving the city. So I want to respect both sides, but I don't want to hold things up over their fights if we are already clear. But I understand you're not, so there will be public comment on the vote for this, but it stands in the request for this motion at the time. There's no motion yet, but it stands in the request, so thank you, Commissioner. Go ahead,
Yes,
Commissioner
I
Reyes.
also want to add to that. I mean, if we are going to defer this, I also wanted to be briefed on it, and particularly on the economic impact of delaying this project and the consequences that could bring to the city of Miami. Because I think that the longer that we take to develop this, the longer that we take receiving any revenues from it.
But guys, listen, I'm not asking for 2 years.
No, sir,
to
I'm
make
not
sure the
saying
city to make sure the city is safe from any winnable lawsuit.
Mr. Carollo, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that I want to know what the economic impact is.
Commissioner Diaz de la
How it's
Portilla.
going to benefit us, and if we pass it, or what are the consequences of not passing it? That's the only thing that I'm saying.
In 2 weeks, Commissioner?
No, sir, come on, Joe. What I'm saying is that I want to report, I'm not saying to delay it, and I'm stating that this is going to affect anything.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that this delay 2 weeks for 2 weeks, nothing is going to happen. But I want to know in the long run what would happen if we keep on postponing it or we don't take action. That's what I'm trying to say. You see,
I understand that. I understand.
I want to know it because, you see, to start with, and I was never briefed on. You see, and I want to know what's going on.
Well, what I was briefed on was that it was a sizable amount of land, 5,000 plus square feet, which is like, a regular lot in the city of Miami, which I thought was a lot of land, but they explained to me it came all the way from 27th all the way to the back.
You see, you know more than I do.
And it wasn't that wide. But that's all I was told. I wasn't told that there was any discrepancy or claims or allegations that it was going into another leaseholder's lease or anything else. And what I'm trying to do is, as I stated, and I'll state it again, we need to get that easement to get this project finalized. But where that easement should go, we have to be sure so that, this project doesn't end up getting delayed even more if the city is not in firm ground by court action or anything else.
Yeah, I do understand.
Yeah, and
Thank you.
that's all that I'm trying to do.
Commissioner Diaz de la Portilla, you recognize, and then the city attorney wanted to say something.
I agree with both commissioners. I don't think 2 weeks is the end of the world. I do need more time also to look at it and study it a little bit more. I think those 2 weeks are important. And we're not really going to delay the project. So is it appropriate now, Mr. Chair, that I make a motion to defer?
We're doing the entire order of the day in one vote.
Well, no, because I want to take this out of order.
You want to take it separately, that's
Yeah,
fair.
because what I don't want to do is have public comment and have them come back again in 2 weeks and do it again. We're not going to take it up today. It's the will of the body, of course. I don't know what the vote's going to be, but if we want to take it up today, why go through that process on a day that we have so many items?
Yeah.
We have 3 meetings. I think it makes more sense, unless we'll be out of here at 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Right? It makes more sense to just defer it.
There's
So
a
I
motion
want
to
take it out.
defer PH3. Is there a second? Second, is there anyone here who'd like to speak on public comment regarding the timeliness only, not the substance of these issues, but the timeliness of this deferral?
Excuse me, have we included RE7 in deferment, or did we defer? it
No,
already?
Commissioner is just asking for one item to be deferred
No,
at this
but,
point.
yeah, but the one that I said before, RE7.
Yes,
St. James.
yes, it is included in the batch deferral, but we're not doing that right now.
Okay, all right.
Well, I can combine it with my motion and add RE7.
I'm sorry, your motion was for PH3.
Right. I could add RE7 to it also and defer both items.
Okay, we're trying to do one vote that batches all of
I
them. And is there a
understand,
reason for RE7 to be? included in this?
I'll wait to defer it, but let's just take a vote on this one.
Thank you, that's what I thought.
And I would appreciate if we don't have to go through the whole public comment. That's the whole purpose of my point.
It's an action.
My point is that we don't prolong the meeting, and we're going to take up the item in 2 weeks. As long as the world won't end in 2 weeks for anyone, any of these two parties or the city, why, we're talking 2 weeks. Like Commissioner Correa said, we're not talking 2 years, we're talking 2 weeks.
Yeah. So,
But it's, you know, if you want to go through it twice and go through the exercise today, that's fine.
so I want transparency in our government and to follow all procedures. And as the acting chair, my goal is to have public comment on anything we take an action on. And the action we are taking is the deferral. What if, for example, we are told that by deferring this, someone loses financing because they're at a critical point of construction and they can't continue? It's just a hypothetical, but we don't know that up here on the dais, but public comment on this action could reveal that. That's the type of thing I want to hear. I do not want to hear about the substance of the item and where the easement is and who's right or who's wrong, but I need to hear from anybody who's here on the deferral of the item of why it should or should not be deferred. Beyond that, it's up to the will of this body if they don't want to hear public comment, but as long as I've got the gavel, that's the way I'd like to do it. I'm sorry, you may address the...
I got lost in the discourse. I didn't understand if FR3 is being deferred.
Not at this point. We are only deferring one item in this moment.
Chair, if I can get the speaker's name?
Your name, please?
Hi, my name's Abigail Ape. I'm here to
Thank
speak
you.
on FR3.
We were working on a batch deferral, but the commissioner pulled one item, so that it doesn't, nobody has to vote yes or no on the batch if they disagree. So we're just looking at PH3 at this point. If there's no one here for public comment on the item, I'll close public comment. Any further statements from the dais? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion to defer to September 23rd.
PH3.
PH3, thank you very
Understood.
much. All right, back to the list of batch deferrals. Is there any commissioner who'd like to see any other item added to the list for deferral, continuance, or withdrawal?
Yeah, we're deferring PZ1 to 923.
PZ1 is the Rainbow Village item.
Yes.
All right. Are there any other commissioners who have items to defer, continue, or withdraw? I believe that's it. Now, are there any items to be added to the agenda? PZ1 will be deferred to September 23rd. Any pocket items to add today?
The attorney has it, as you will know, September it is the Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And I am presenting a resolution that is going to be read by the city attorney in order for us to declare December and accept December as the Childhood Cancer Awareness Month.
Childhood Cancer Awareness Month
Yes.
is PI1. Are there other items to add to the agenda? No other pockets? All right.
And Chair, just for the record, Commissioner Correa would like to co-sponsor CA9 and CA10.
Noted.
Commissioner Correa, it's my understanding you would like to co-sponsor CA9 and CA10. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. All right. Is there... Go ahead.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Did you do a pocket item?
Yes. Would you have a pocket item to add to the agenda?
Yes.
Go ahead.
A pocket item dealing with auditing of nonprofits that we give money to. All right, I'll have it by the time we...
What is the direction? I'm sorry, I'm not...
I want to find out, what do we do and how do we find out accountability from nonprofits, organizations that we give money to?
So a discussion item.
Yeah, we can do a discussion item and whatever it leads to at that point, yes.
All right, so it's a pocket item. We'll add it to the discussion item section, and that'll give the management some time to research and get you some answers. So that is auditing of nonprofits, correct?
Or accountability of nonprofits.
All right, and that's it for the agenda. Is there a motion on the agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Diaz-Portilla, seconded by the chair. Is there anyone here who would like to speak on the deferrals, on the timeliness of the deferrals? Seeing none, I'll close public comment. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We now have an agenda for the day. Thank you very much. And for those of you so patiently waiting in the public, this is now your time to let us know how you feel about the votes that we are about to take. So what I'd like to ask is anyone who'd like to address us on the regular and planning and zoning agenda, not the CRA items and not the budget items. So if you're here to speak on the regular agenda and the planning zoning agenda, please come up to the lecterns. You'll have 2 minutes apiece. You just have to tell us your name, which item you're speaking on. We'd like to ask that you do not speak on any items that have been deferred or continued or withdrawn. That's now sailed. So anyone, please come on and come up. You'll have 2 minutes. You'll hear a buzzer right at the 30-second point. That's your signal to wrap it up. We ask you to please be brief today as we have a huge day ahead of us, and we appreciate your advocacy, though. Good morning.
Good morning, Ken. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Greg Frank. I'm a former resident of zip code 33137. I'm here today about PH1 9442. We need you to legislate protection for your citizens and constituents against mass evictions by corporate landlords. As a former resident of Hamilton on the Bay and the Hamilton Board of Volunteers chairperson, I'm here to tell you that Air Communities, the company managed by AMCO and represented by Weiss Serota, has still not done right by us. I personally incurred $9,000 of initial expenses in debt, plus $1,800 of fixed expenses since the move, and we'll have an additional $11,000 fixed expense increase over the upcoming year and more over the duration of my contract that they pressured me and my family to sign. They offered me personally less than $6,000. When we spoke with their lawyers and building representatives as instructed by you, they responded with an offer less than 20% of the assistance necessary. When we alerted the media, they retaliated against us. When we alerted your commission further, they retaliated against us. The city of Miami has received $139 million in American Rescue Plan funds. If you cannot mandate that Air Communities, managed by AMCO and represented by Weiss Serota, does right by the people of Hamilton on the Bay, can the city of Miami declare a portion of these funds be used for the emergency relocation and financial assistance of Hamilton on the Bay residents who have had to leave their homes under duress and others who are facing evictions later this week on September 16th?
Thank you. We will be taking that up at the budget hearing, but I can tell you there is $100,000 allocated toward legal services in order for them to help residents like yourselves who are in a private dispute between you and a landlord. That'll help you have legal services available to you. But I do not believe we have any other items on the budget to discuss at this time. But thank you for your comments.
Yeah, but that doesn't solve the problem.
That's the bigger issue here, that we may not be able to solve your problem. As the local government, when you are in a dispute with your landlord, if they have violated the code in some way, we can absolutely step in. But
what about violating our safety and public welfare?
So some of these things are handled at the county level jurisdiction, but I have asked and have met with your representatives as well as Smash the Slumlords organization, and I've been avidly asking my city attorney what we legally even have the jurisdiction to do within those requests, and so far we're stumped.
Because I remember when we were first here as a group, there was 3 commissioners that said that they better do right by us, and they have not done so. And I'm here to let you know that their representatives and their attorneys have not helped the residents of your city.
And within our ability to try to pressure them to do the best, and hosting meetings in my office as well, I understand out of the dozens and dozens of residents who are in dispute, we're down to about 7 or 8 at this point.
We're down to 7 or 8 that are actually, we're down to 9 that are still in the building. But that does not speak for the people that have incurred new debts and expenses in moving out.
Understood. But the others they have been serviced. In some way, they've come to, the others who have left have come to some sort of agreement with the landlord.
No,
if they've signed an agreement to settle.
Incorrect.
Okay, I'm misunderstanding then. What are those people still fighting for?
We're fighting for an agreement that actually provides adequate assistance.
So above and beyond their having signed to settle to move out and accept whatever funds were offered, they're asking for further assistance?
We did not accept, the people that I'm referring to that are still part of this group did not accept any funds as a settlement or as assistance.
Of the 9? The 9 remaining?
No, the people who moved out.
Yes,
There are people, the 9 that are remaining have not accepted anything.
correct.
And there are another 20 to 30 families who have moved out who have incurred expenses and debts as a result of this company's actions.
And those
we
20,
have not,
just a moment, but those 20 or 30 have not signed a settlement with the
correct.
landlord?
Correct, we have not.
Okay, so there's up to 39 people or units that have not
Families.
yet signed an agreement.
Correct.
Okay, when I had heard that it was down to 9, I had understood we were much further along. Thank you for that clarification. Let me work with the city attorney's office, and what you're asking now is different. This is a budgetary request, which I would say comes at the budget hearing today at 5 p.m., because you're looking for an allocation of American Rescue Plan funds to assist.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Honorable Commissioners. My name is Abby Abe, and I sincerely appreciate you being here present to hear our concerns. Thank you, Ken Russell, and thank you, Mr. Carollo. Now, I'm here to support FR3, that removes the exemption from compliance with noise regulations from any establishment on city-owned property that have leases. Our noise regulations need to be made stronger, and this is a step in the right direction, closing an enormous loophole. However, I encourage the city to take further action and adding verbiage to these regulations that give it a little bit more teeth. Currently, the establishments that violate these regulations are being cited, and even according to code enforcement officers, all they can do is issue a citation. Language should be added about what happens after these citations are issued. For example, after 1 citation, you get closed for 3 days. After 2 citations, for a week. After 3 citations, your permit is revoked. Now, I work with Brickell residents on a daily basis, some of which are here today to share a little bit more about their concerns, and so they sincerely would appreciate your help in adding a few more teeth to this regulation.
Thank you. And the item has been deferred, so it'll be taken up at the September 23rd meeting. Do
Yeah.
you have a specific list of requests within amendments to that ordinance?
Yeah, we can touch base after this.
Okay, yeah, please just forward them to my office offline.
And if I may add, there has to be a better way when items get deferred to share this with the community. Maybe you share it in the morning, just because some of these people are here waiting to share about it, and it's not going to even be talked about. So
It's
just
true.
a suggestion.
It's true. Unfortunately, our inability to talk amongst each other between meetings makes it very difficult to know who's going to feel how when the item comes up. But yes, no, my intention was to take this item up. And I appreciate that who here came on the noise ordinance? Who here's to, I apologize that we've wasted your time.
Yeah.
But thank you, Abby. I appreciate it. And you're representing BHA in your capacity here. Good morning.
Good morning. My name's Dolores Orqui Gutierrez. I live at 150 Southeast 25th Road. We're having a major issue. I don't know if I can speak on this item because of the noise.
If you're going to speak now, you won't be able to speak on it when it does come up in 2 weeks. So if you want to save
my
ammunition for
ammunition
that,
for
it'll be
then.
much more effective then.
All right. Well, thank you very
Yep.
much. I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. I just wanted to confirm before I speak, RE7, was that deferred as well?
RE7 has been deferred. That is rescinding resolution on the library, correct?
Yes. In that case, I will reserve my comments until then, but I did just want to flag for the Commissioners that I have shared the proposed public policy from the Public Land for Public Good Coalition with everybody and their staff. And if anybody has questions, they should please reach out to me. My name is Sabrina Velarde. I'm the Policy Director with Miami Homes for All.
I'm sorry, your name
Clerk
again?
didn't catch your name.
Sabrina Velarde.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Leitner, good morning.
Stephen Leitner, 555 Northeast 34th Street, Hamilton on the Bay, and I am here to express my gratitude to you, Commissioner Russell, for committing to come to our residents and experience and witness the misery that our residents are enduring during this eviction process. And again, asking what more the city can do to stop this misery and prevent other residents of the city of Miami from experiencing the same situation. And again, first and foremost, my gratitude for showing up.
No, it really meant something to see it in person. Clearly, you are living through a complete construction zone that doesn't really look inhabitable. And so I see what you're going through. I was able to experience it much more vividly. So thank you, Mr. Leitner.
And in terms of any actions, any concrete actions available to this commission, to the city attorney, to the Department of Inspection.
So the request from Smash the Slumlords that we do add money to legal services has been taken up, but as far as actual enforcement or some sort of violation that we could push against on the landowner, we do not seem to find jurisdiction at this point within our legal department. If your representatives are able to show us something within our code that we are able to do, there is a willingness amongst this body to do it. So far, we don't see it.
I'm going to invite Greg back. I may have 30 seconds left. Thank you, Greg.
That's fine.
I was just going to ask him to reinstate the need for a portion of the American Rescue Plan funds to be allocated for residents of the Hamilton, since Air Communities and AIMCO and Weiss Serota won't come to a deal with us.
So basically, this is financial assistance for those being evicted. And
Right.
for us to deal with this in a fair way to the community and the public, it wouldn't necessarily be named for Hamilton, but it's really about anyone who's getting evicted at this point in mass
Right.
evictions.
Yeah, and everybody, right, exactly. Everybody being eligible for it. So not just, absolutely, families that are in a low-income situation that face this problem need assistance, and as well, families in a medium-income situation and even upper-income situations. If anybody is facing a problem like this, we all need help, not just one category or one income group.
All right. Thank you. That's noted. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Julian Romero, and I live in 31 Southeast 5th Street, and I'm here in support of FR3 to remove the exemption from compliance with noise regulations for any establishment on city-owned property.
Thank you. The item has been deferred until the next meeting, September
Correct.
23rd.
So on February 19th, 2020, yourself and Mayor Suarez were in attendance at a Brickell Homeowners Association meeting. In that meeting, you both advocated for Riverside Miami's opening. Commissioner Russell, you yourself even mentioned that it would be a family atmosphere with no night events and noise no louder than a whisper. I understand that's probably what was presented to yourself and Mayor Suarez, but that is not the reality.
I'm sorry, and just to stop you, because I don't want to get in a back and forth, but I remember that meeting. I do not remember ever making a promise to you that there would be no night events and no noises over a whisper. That was never a promise on my behalf.
That's fine, either way. in the
Compliance with the
actual-
noise ordinance is definitely in order, and FR3 does not apply to them because they're not on city land. That is a privately owned land, so they are already subject to the noise ordinance, which has been applied to them. Please continue.
So, since that time, anyways, there has been countless nights of loud music, screaming people, cheering, and DJs encouraging crowds to make some noise. The establishment is currently open Thursdays through Sundays until 2 a.m. Commissioner Reyes spoke earlier about favoritism. Antonio Primo is the owner of Riverside Miami, and he is a well-connected individual in Miami. I believe Mayor Suarez also knows him. He's not here right now, unfortunately. I'm not saying that there is anything going on as far as favoritism is concerned, but I do believe that FR3 will ensure to the public and to the residents of Brickell that there is no favoritism actually taking place. Riverside Miami, as an establishment, has received countless citations, with 3 citations last week being confirmed. With that said, FR3 citation closures and revocation process that Abigail mentioned, that would be a great way to actually hold these establishments accountable to actually turn down the noise, turn down the music, or there will actually be consequences and repercussions. Because at the end of the day, this establishment is a nightclub.
Thank you.
And this nightclub has plenty of money to pay for the citations that are being issued.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your comments.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Russell. Thank you for your time. I'm here. My name is Borja Darmaslov. I'm speaking on DI 110583. I'm coming here directly because my emails and my phone calls have come unanswered. 2 or 3 weeks ago, I sent you an email personally Your assistant, I think her name is Alison Arias, replied that Daniel Prats was going to call me in the next few days. It's been 2 or 3 weeks. Haven't heard anything. I'm calling on the issues from First Avenue to South Miami Avenue, 12th Street and 11th Street. I invite you to come down, like I sent an email, to come and have cafecito or something like that, so you can see for yourself. Since nobody comes down and addresses the issues, the streets look like a fourth world country, not even a third world country. This is really unacceptable. The flooding, it's coming to a point, it's been 2 years already that I've been contacting the app. I think Manolo Reyes told me one day when I found him in the street, he told me, call the app, call the number, find out. Again, 2.5 years, Brickell Association is here trying to do the same thing, and nothing happens. I really invite you to come down and see the streets. I don't know if you live in the area, probably Coral Gables, somewhere else, I don't care. But where I live looks like crap. And it's unacceptable for a city with this amount of money and this amount of resources that we're living in this type of conditions.
Thank you. Tell me your name again.
Božidar Maslov. Božidar Maslov.
I apologize that it sounds like my office did reach back out to you,
Yeah.
but the person dealing with the problem has not yet. If you've got a moment, please, I'd invite you to please go to my office. My entire staff is there, and I apologize that you didn't get a response. I absolutely do live in my district. It's one of the legal requirements of our charter, and so I do not live in Coral Gables.
No, I don't know, but you haven't passed by my street, or don't take that street as a...
I have and I do.
What the address?
I live in
Miami
79
Avenue.
Southwest 12th Street, in the access of Brickell. It's 2 towers that are between 11 and 12th Street.
Yeah. But you're talking about homelessness or cleanliness?
I'm talking about well, I can go on and on, but the first thing I'm talking about is the conditions of the streets, the potholes. Now, a week ago, they did 2 manholes. My car, I cannot go out through South Miami Avenue. Now I have to go through First Avenue. So I have to go all the way around to come around because the potholes, I have a small car, so the car,
Got it.
that's
One of my directors is here, waiting for you at the door, and glad to address your problem.
All
I'm
right.
sorry you had to come all the way to City Hall to deal with it.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Luis Garcia, and I'm here to support the NFR3. And I bring this up because my family, my community, and I are constantly suffering due to the noise pollution coming from Riverside. I know you...
Sir, Riverside is not on this agenda in any form today. FR3 actually does not address that, since this FR3 is about city-owned properties, and that is not one. So the previous gentleman brought the same thing up. Clearly, there's no favoritism because, as he even said in his comments, citations are being issued. And beyond a certain point of citations, they can lose their certificate of use. So they are absolutely being enforced again. I can promise you that.
And I understand that the only problem that I have with that is that not only every time when the residents call, these citations are issued, even the noise being there. And I just want to add something to what the person that spoke before me add. So I think we need to be consistent with the regulations, right? If the code enforcement go there and identify that there is a problem, maybe they don't consider there is too much noise, but the law is clear. They say the regulation of the noise ordinance in the chapter 3, section 4 says that there should be no noise at all at any time between 100 feet from the actual building to the affected property, right? And that's one of the main reasons why I'm here, because that's not being complied all the time. And also I urge you to check or to consider or review the permit that this place has, because they're not really complying with the regulation. This is a temporary permit, right?
Yes.
So they are going to be there just for some time. They are just a guest, but they are not complying with what they need to based on the temporary permit. So I urge you to check that, please, and help us with this problem, because it has been for almost a year since they opened back in November.
Yes, thank you. And I've actually been there myself at night and stood up on the Metro Mover platform, so about the 4th floor of residential, to see, and I did not experience a loud noise on that particular night. It's not to discount your experience, but they have been issued citations and they have been mitigating. They have been changing everything to my understanding. But if they continue, they will continue to get citations, and they can lose their certificate of use for the temporary use permit.
And when this is going to happen? Just for my understanding, after how many citations they can lose that?
Barnaby?
Right now, there's a quote-unquote three strikes you're out.
There is a
three strikes you're out provision in the city code, but the zoning administrator has the authority to revoke temporary permits and certificates of use when there's a violation.
There's a threshold of citations that reaches that with
There is a three strikes you're out.
Three strikes, you're out.
That being said, the zoning administrator has the authority to revoke upon a first violation.
Got it. But at 3 strikes, it's mandatory.
So again, so just for my understanding, if they already had the 3 strikes, so how we can address that, or who we can talk about this, because they already
I don't
have
believe they do at this point. So that can be a legal and zoning question that we can take up, but it's not on this agenda, sir, so I apologize, we cannot take more time at this meeting. But I'm happy to deal with it in my office, because it is important to me, and your quality of life is as well. So my office, if you would like to also head back to the District 2 office, what we can look up is exactly how many citations have been not only issued, but adjudicated at the Code Enforcement Board to see if they've really reached their 3 strikes, because I don't believe they have.
Just for your information, last Thursday, I came here, and the 3 citations were tried to be appealed, and the city attorney just confirmed that that was a problem, that was violations, 3 of them. So I'm
So
pretty
3
sure-
violations, okay, if that's
that's
the case, we will take the action under the code that we absolutely have to. There's no favoritism going on here, I can assure you
Thank
that.
you. Thank you for hearing.
And please, my office is happy to work with you. Next comment, please. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioner Russell, Arroyo, Commissioner Reyes. Hi, how are you?
Microphone, please.
I just want the record to reflect that while everyone was speaking, I was standing by the side, right here in the dais, listening to everyone. Obviously, all of you that were here saw me, but in case someone took a smaller picture to say otherwise.
I did see you, Commissioner.
And this day is going to be tough. We're going to try to power through lunch, my treat.
Thank you.
And so if you see a commissioner disappear from the dais, please know they're listening, whether it's from the bathroom or their office, they are listening.
Oh, power, lunch.
Oh, you weren't here.
Your treat.
Some decisions were made, Commissioner.
Well.
You're recognized, ma'am.
And good morning to you, Commissioner Watson. I'm here also not only to back up what Greg mentioned earlier regarding the residents of the Hamilton and what has been going on. I realize that you are slightly misinformed as to exactly what has been going on because of the way that communications have been phrased. But it is true what Greg says, that the residents that have moved out, many of them did not take the deal that was offered because it was frankly a miserly offer. And I personally find that it's rather offensive that now getting towards the end, they are willing to start shelling out more money. And here it is, the 11th hour. Why have they done this? Why have they waited until the last minute? It only adds more stress and costs more money. But more importantly, I want to focus on the idea that, you know, as a city, we're a big city. We have a lot of people that are now suffering the consequences of greedy landlords kicking them out of their homes because they want to do renovations, taking advantage of a tragedy in a pretty despicable manner, not just Aimco, but many others across the city. And I find it offensive to think that the funds that the city has that have been allocated to help people who are in need should be wasted because a company that has millions and millions up to billions of dollars at their disposal to take care of those issues does not step up to the plate. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to turn it down. I need the help. I cannot stay there. But it's outrageous.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank
Did
you.
we get your name, please?
Maria Ray.
Maria,
Ray, R-A-Y.
thank you for coming. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. My name is Leticia Alvarez, and I'm a native Miamian, lived here most of my life. I've never been to a commission meeting. I took time off of work. I know you said that, you know, the noise issue at Riverside isn't at issue, but it is for me, which is why I'm here, and I hope you'll let me speak. we're regular people. We're just trying to live in our condo that we worked hard to pay for. I'm behind a strong, hurricane-proof glass with a TV on a Thursday. And I can't go to
apologize to
sleep
interrupt.
at night because
Are we
of the
talking
noise.
recently? Are you still hearing noise issues out of
It's a
Riverside?
problem.
Currently?
Yes, on Sunday, they had some sort of event for football game, whatever, there is noise. So it really, really does bother us. It's a quality of life issue. We live next to this nightclub where they have music coming out of this tent. I love Miami. I want quality of life for our residents. I want things to be, nice. I don't want to live next to people partying in a tent. It's not classy. It's not anything that we all want. And that's basically why I came.
I'm
we
sorry,
all.
if I could interrupt you for 1
Yes.
second, and we'll give you the time that I speak back to you. What location are you talking about?
So it's Riverside. I live at 31 Southeast 5th Street, and it's the business right next door to our condo, Brickell on the River.
I think the address, Commissioner, is 431 South Miami Avenue.
It's a temporary use permit for an empty lot that is now, how many restaurants on it? It's maybe half a dozen restaurants and it's an activation.
What place is this?
Called Riverside.
Riverside.
Right
Is it-
behind Brickell City Center, between Brickell City Center and the river.
Next to the Metro Rail?
Yeah, it has a
Metro-
3-year temporary use permit, and it abuts a residential tower that has been complained.
It's a nuisance. That's basically why we're here, and we hope you can help us.
This is part of the problem that I have been fighting since I got here. This city has looked the other way with all these alcohol establishments or facilities, entertainment locations, and time again, across the city of Miami in all districts, I'm seeing residents like you complaining. You have rights. You want your quality of life. And, we're going to have to make decisions because it just seems to me that when we have weekends in particular at night, and then all day, Saturday and Sunday, but particularly Friday nights, Saturday nights, and then if you got a long holiday, the Sunday nights. We have bankers' hours for our employees. We have maybe one code officer for the whole city, no building people, no zoning people out there. It's a free-for-all. And then most of the times, we have depended on off-duty officers that have been hired by these establishments. And in the past, many of these officers were being paid in cash by the establishments. When calls came into the station, a regular patrol car was not sent. It was given to the off-duty officers. And, we all know what the outcome of that was going to be. So I am, feeling just like you. In fact, because I protected my residents in my district, I've taken the brunt and the wrath of some of these alcohol establishment owners like no one has up here. I want to be able to accomplish something for our residents in protection. And this is why I've been putting numerous ordinances that have been citywide ordinance to try to give that protection. Now,
Yeah, and I appreciate that. We're at our wits' end, honestly.
Part of what we're going to be voting today is to, one, put out more people out on weekends, substantially more. So that's going to be important, approving not only additional dollars for next fiscal year's budget so that we could put people there, but agreements that we're coming with, particular union to do that. But it's just not doing it. You need the right people out there because some of these characters that run these places, they're super aggressive and they like to bully and intimidate our employees when they go out there.
I believe it. I mean, I don't know. And, you know, I like to go out and have fun as much as the next
Sure,
person, but
everybody
like,
does.
why can't it be inside an actual building where you can close the door and the noise doesn't come out and bother the residents? I mean, it seems fairly straightforward, and it would also just kind of look nicer in the community than some tent.
Well,
That's
that's what I've said from up here since day one. You want to have, you know, loud music, you want to have partying, do it in closed doors. That the noise level is not going to be going out and bothering the quality of life and the sleep of our residents.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank you,
I
Commissioner.
gotta
You
work.
can,
Go ahead.
you can
I
finish your
took
time.
a lot of your time.
You
Go
can
ahead.
finish your
and-
time. If you-
No, that was it. That was
Thank
all.
you so
I
much
just
for your
wanted to let you know. Thank you.
Thank
Hope you can help us.
And that's partly why I'm bringing FR3. Outdoor music is an issue. Good morning. No, we alternate. You're recognized.
I'll give him the benefit.
You're
of the
deferring
doubt.
the time. Okay.
I'll defer the time. I'll yield my time.
You're taking. Good morning. How are you?
Morning. Yes, thank you so much. My name is Adrian Madriz. I live at 1990 Northwest 4th Court, 33136. Speaking on item PH1 9442. And this is in reference to especially the affordable housing situation that's going on right now with Hamilton on the Bay. And I do want to go over a meeting that we recently had, which thank you very much, Commissioner Russell, for helping us set that up with the city attorney. Going over the different options that we could pursue to protect tenants that are facing these kinds of mass evictions to make sure that they get the assistance and resources that they require in order to move on. There were many things that the city attorney's office said no to, many things, not gonna lie. But there were two things that they did say that they had an openness to. One of them being the allocation of funds for a new program that would allow these residents to get the financial relocation resources that they need. And I know that we're going to be addressing that today at the budget hearing, and I really appreciate that, Commissioner. And the other was rent control, as surprising as that may seem. And you might be thinking, well, if the city of Miami were to dabble in rent control, wouldn't that be preempted by the state of Florida? And that's not true. I have the statute right here that actually talks about what the state of Florida would do if the city of Miami were to pass its own rent control. That's Florida Statute, Chapter 252, Section 38. And it says, under number 2, no law, ordinance, rule, or other measure which would have the effect of imposing controls on rents shall be adopted or maintained in effect except as provided herein, and unless it is found and determined as hereinafter provided that such controls are necessary and proper to eliminate an existing housing emergency which is so grave as to constitute a serious menace to the general public. I believe we are living in that kind of a housing emergency at the moment, not only because of what's going on at Hamilton on the Bay, but also because of the general mass evictions that have been happening. 24 buildings have been ordered to vacate in the county of Miami-Dade. That includes several buildings in the city of Miami, which slumlords have used the conditions as a result of the Surfside collapse to excuse the eviction and mass gentrification of entire buildings. And so we are living right now in a grave housing emergency. All of the people who lived at Hamilton on the Bay and all of the people who have been relocated have had to enter one of the most expensive housing markets in the country, certainly the most expensive one in the city of Miami's history. I think if there were ever a time when we needed to have rent control as an emergency measure, which could be absolutely done by executive order by the mayor, it would be now. And I think it would be incumbent upon all of you, commissioners, to really consider this and see if there's any way that you can formally request such a measure from the mayor's office. Because there's really no reason at this point why such a measure should not be able to go into effect.
Thank you, Mr. Madriz.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
It's still morning, right?
It is.
We have the invitation for lunch, all of us?
Oh, no, there's a...
I'm just asking. James Torres, president of the DNA. FR3, we do support that. I know it's been deferred, but we need to have that conversation later on. Don't want to get into that right now. There are a couple items that we do want to talk about. Commissioner Joe Carollo has sponsored them, RE10, RE11, and FR4. The DNA fully supports the initiatives that are on the agenda at this point, for this will create a conversation piece that the DNA feels that the city should be having. It's important for the quality of life and also for the residents of downtown. We know that this is a valuable decision that you have to make, and we do want to have the dialogue. And I want to quote something that's important. Our current president, back in February 6, 2014, was at a speech in Philadelphia. And his comments were as follows: if I blindfold somebody at 2 o'clock in the morning and I took them to the Hong Kong airport, they would think they were in America. If I take them to the New York LaGuardia airport at the same time frame, they're going to think they're in a third world country. That's what many downtown individuals feel that downtown looks like, because of the homeless problem, because of the abandonment of certain things that are going on in our city. The DNA has taken a very proactive approach this past month in reaching out to just about every commissioner and getting points of view. So we are asking for your help and assistance. When are these things going to be moving forward? Because we do have to ask the questions and the uncomfortable questions. We know we're in budget season. There are resources that are needed for the city, especially in downtown. If it's additional police officers, if it's the DDA providing additional support. So we don't want to turn around and just kind of sweep this under the rug. That's why we ask again, what is the importance of RE 10, 11, and FR4? If I can ask that in an open question, maybe I get some dialogue from you folks.
Thank you very much. We will definitely be taking those items up, and the full discussion will happen at that time. Thank you.
Okay? And maybe we can get a seat at the table to have this conversation, because I think it's important that the DNA knows about it.
Absolutely, and I was glad to welcome you in my office to have you at the table. DNA is very important to our decision-making process.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep. Good morning.
Good morning. Vicki Millette, Executive Director, Miami-Dade County Homeless Trust, 111 Northwest 1st Street, 27th floor, Miami, Florida, 33128. I am unfortunately here to speak in opposition to FR4. I do not believe that criminalizing homelessness is going to solve the homeless problem. We're making tremendous progress. We've increased coordination. We have increased resources through ARP and the CARES Act. Together with the DDA, we've put additional outreach teams on the street, including one targeting women. We've put another 3 teams on the street targeting encampments and substance use disorders. I will tell you that if you criminalize homelessness, it will make it much harder to house the individuals that we're working with. They will become more service resistant, and you will see an increase in jail costs, but not necessarily a change in behavior. I think there is at least a dozen other ideas on the table. I look forward to talking about D12. I think that not all of those ideas involve money, that there are opportunities for additional and enhanced coordination, including with the DNA. And I want to point you to the August census. We counted 510 people on the streets of Miami, certainly too many. But that is the lowest numbers we've experienced since 2013.
What was the number again? I apologize, Vicki.
510.
510.
That's the lowest numbers we've had since 2014. And let me also point out, we have capital projects in the works that I'd love to brief you on. 2, one which would exclusively help seniors, the other one which is for individuals with severe mental illness and substance use disorders. We would certainly like to look at the CARES Act and ARP funds being made available to the city to contribute to those projects. And I will tell you from that August census, this is countywide, 28% of those individuals on the streets were 60 years and over.
Let me ask, Mr.
You're welcome. Yes, Commissioner Reyes.
Let me ask you a question. You claim that because of the last year's census was over 600, and that's what we were informed, that census claimed that we were over 600. And now there is a decrease of homeless in the city of Miami. But I have a question. You see, since I would say a couple of years ago, areas as Miami, which would never had a problem. I mean, we had 1 or 2, but now we are, the number of homeless in that area has increased. Is it that they are moving, or you are counting only the ones that are there in downtown Miami?
No, we are seeing a total decrease in the county. So our countywide numbers are down, lowest numbers we've experienced since 2014. Our city numbers are down even further, lowest numbers we've had since 2013.
No, by your count, yes, I know that it states that, it shows a decrease. But by visual, we are experiencing in that part of the city that never had a problem before, now we have an increase on people sleeping in the bus benches or storefronts. You see, we had an increase.
I would say to you that the numbers are down.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a
That-
very-
I'm
I would
just
also
saying,
say,
I'm just
I would also
asking.
say it's a very transient community. I will also tell you the optics have gotten worse. Encampments have become more entrenched during the pandemic. That's in part because of CDC guidance. That's why we've deployed 3 additional substance use encampment-focused outreach teams to the street. They're making great progress. We've seen all these decreases without criminalizing homelessness. And I would tell you that we can, with the amount of resources coming through ARP and CARES Act, we continue along this trend. I will also tell you, we received $33 to $35 million from the federal government. We're in the middle of that competitive process right now. There are points tied to those federal applications that the continuum of care could lose if we criminalize homelessness. That jeopardizes our federal funding. And you are a direct recipient of some of those federal dollars.
Yes, we are.
Thank you. Ms. Millett, if you're able to stick around, I thank Commissioner Carollo for making this such a prominent issue on our agenda, and we will probably batch his items and take them together for a robust discussion on how to move forward. So
That's
we will
fine,
take that up.
But I do take offense to something that you said here, that we're criminalizing homelessness. This ordinance is not to criminalize homelessness. This ordinance is to deal with the homeless issue in the most humane way that we can. But if individuals decide that after we offer them beds, we offer them shelters, we offer them hotel, whatever we can, that they want to put a tent anywhere they want to, blocking sidewalks and other points of where our residents walk through so they can, that they can't do that. We live in a civilized society that all residents have rights to. And if there are many that want to stay out in tents that are blocking the pathway of the rest of our residents because they want to be out there using drugs, like is the real issue for those that want to stay out in the streets, then we have an obligation for them and for the rest of our residents to act in a humane fashion with them. The problem is that we have been spending millions upon millions of dollars on the homeless issue, and even though you're trying to put a Barney face on it, that everything's okay and it keeps going down, I'll be very blunt with you. The only numbers that I see shifting are on a weekly, monthly countdown of how many homeless people are dying in our streets. But I don't believe that even so, there's been enough of them to bring the numbers to what you're saying. But the problem is, Vicki, that the homeless issue has become a business. There are many out there that don't want it to go away. They want the homelessness out there because it's a business. They have a job on it, they make money on it, and the ones that are losing out are all our residents that pay taxes. And we're putting millions of dollars out to this issue that we shouldn't be doing. And if you guys aren't going to resolve this issue, then we have to find a way to resolve it ourselves. No matter what you want to call it, no matter what you want to say. Residents of Miami have a right also to their quality of life. You should not have to see elderly senior people have to walk through the middle of the street because there's a tent city blocking a sidewalk And they're petrified on top of that of who's going to come out. Are they going to be assaulted or anything else? So that's the bottom line. So please don't say that we're trying to criminalize something when there's no city in America that's had the record, like Miami has, of being humane with people that are homeless. But what we're facing here in Miami today and in America is not what traditionally we've known and we dealt with as homelessness. A lot of the people that we're having are people that have been burned out on drugs and people that don't want any kind of shelter at all because they want to be out in the streets using their drugs.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Commissioner Reyes, you're
I want to add something that really it's unfair for our residents also, and something got to be done about it. You see, all along 8th Street, Flagler, and other main thoroughfares, we have those bus shelters. Those shelters are to protect people that are going to take the bus from the inclement, whether be the sun or raining. And what I have witnessed, and I've seen it, that a group of homeless, one or two, they make a camp right there on those shelters. And you see, my district is full of seniors. Full of seniors. I think that it is the district that has more seniors in it. And it's not fair that the seniors that are waiting for a bus to come have to be outside of the shelter, either under the rain or under the sun, because the homeless have taken, a couple of homeless, they have taken possession of that shelter, and they even kick them out. They push them out. They tell them, no, you cannot be here, or they just are occupying it, and it is their home. What can we do about that? What do we do? Call the police and get them out? Is that persecuting the homeless? How about the people that pay taxes and are using the buses, and they have the right to protect themselves, and that's why we have built those shelters. You see? I agree that maybe we can include in your resolution, you see, in your ordinance, that shelters shouldn't be occupied by anybody but those people that are waiting for a bus. You see? And you see it day after day after day after day. It is not fair. I do understand that we have there human beings. We have to do the most that we can in order to direct them into becoming members of society, or also offer them shelter, training, whatever it is. I'm all for it. But we also have a duty of protecting our people, our residents. You see, I've witnessed in my district also what Commissioner Carollo is. They're in the middle of the street and they don't move, and then you see people that they have to go into 8th Street. You see, go to the street and then come back. That's a life safety issue also, because those people could be run over by a car.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'd like to hold this discussion for the discussion item itself, and let's get through public comment. I have plenty to say on this as well, and I really appreciate you bringing it up, but let's get into it at the item, because we have 4 items, including RE10, RE11, FR4, and DI2, all having to do with the homeless issue in Miami.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I look forward to the discussion, and I would love to speak to all of those points. I do not think we're in disagreement on many issues.
But I don't want just to talk. I want solutions. What are we going to do about it? Because we can be talking.
Yeah.
Since day one that I sat here, we've been talking about this.
And nothing gets done.
You see?
Yeah, I think that and I'll wait for the discussion too.
Thank you.
But I was on, as I said to them, and I'll say now, I don't think my colleague is trying to criminalize homelessness. I think there are issues relative to the homelessness problem, and we're trying to address them. We have, unlike it to be our responsibility, Homeless Trust gets a dedicated source of money. We do not necessarily get that, and we don't have the staff to deal with it from a singular perspective. We have dysfunctional governments around here, right? But I know for a fact the city has probably spent over $150 million. And for those who've been here for a long period of time, they're just like, okay, what's happening? Because optics then plays a part of it, right? And I really want to hear the solutions. Because just as I said to the activists on the Zoom call, there's 7 of you all, but there's 70 people who don't want to be perceived as uncharacter, as I've been called, okay, on the outside calling us, saying, hey, little girls walk down those streets. What are you doing? I got a business that people don't want to come to. What are you doing? So please understand, we're not trying to criminalize anybody. We're trying to find solutions. So please talk to us with solutions, because everybody always saying something different. And since me and my colleague, who says I have no character, have the most homeless in our districts, we really do want solutions.
I appreciate that.
All right,
Looking forward to the
Oh, no,
discussion.
we're coming with solutions. 500 is not a celebration. 500 is a starting point to get to zero. We must get to functional zero.
Who knows what the real number is, Commissioner? I don't believe for 1 minute it's 500. I could count that for you real quick in one night, just in a few sectors alone.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Isaac Gutierrez. I'm a homeowner at 2000 Southwest 14th Avenue, District 3. This is a quite simple, very local issue after following up on a very challenging and timely city issue as being homeless. Mine is very local in nature.
Sir, which item is it you're speaking on?
This is a traffic and sign in my neighborhood.
Is it an item on the agenda?
I wasn't given an item on it.
Got it. So it's not one of our agenda items today. Would you like to work with the
very
Commissioner's
simple.
office directly?
Well, but if we can, I mean, the gentleman has taken time to come here.
Please continue.
Would you give him 2 minutes at least?
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Then you could go to my office afterwards to see how we could help you further, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Carroyo. I'm here representing approximately 10 homeowners that were impacted the first week of September. And they were, we had city staff, they were not police officers, they were, I believe, code enforcers, that they were ticketing vehicles that were parked on the right-of-way. The specific area that I'm referring to,
Okay, it would have to have been, not code doesn't ticket for people parking. It would have had to have been either people working for our police department or the parking authority.
parking authority, you're
Most
correct.
likely it was parking authority.
Thank you, they were parking authority. The specific issue is on Southwest 20th Street between 14th Avenue and 13th Street. This is adjacent to
14th Avenue and 13th Avenue, man.
13th Avenue
Yeah, and 14th
and
Avenue.
14th Avenue on 20th Street.
Yeah.
Directly adjacent to Coral Way Elementary. There's an area that the residents parked on the street. On the school, there's a chain link fence with signs that says, no parking, school staff only, it will be towed away.
In the city right away?
In the, there's the fence
Yeah,
on the perimeter of the school.
right.
And I believe those are not city or county signs. I do believe they are the school board signs.
Yeah, but what I want to make sure I understand is the signs are on the city property, where you park your cars in the street.
They are, Commissioner, they are on the chain link fence right on the property line behind the sidewalk.
Okay, if they're behind the sidewalk, then that is school property.
So my question is this. One, it could be as simple as a sign was improperly placed. It should have been facing into the school and not out. But as a result of that, a lot of the vehicles, approximately 5 vehicles, were towed away, and the neighbors and the owners in that area had to pay approximately $200 in their time to retrieve those cars. So this is something that needs to be corrected. That is, if those signs are not properly placed, or if the school board is renting those space from the city. And if they are, then it's a different issue because we're taxpayers and we're entitled to be able to park in the right of way if it's lawfully permitted. And I'm asking for your help to look into that.
If you can right now, I have my chief of staff that's back here, Mr. Suarez. If you could go back, he'll go with you, and we have other staff at the office so that we could work with you in that and the neighbors.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
And he will give you our numbers, so from here on, you could call us direct any other problems you have.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you.
Certainly.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. My name is Janie Joyner. I am still living at the Hamilton on the Bay. It's about the PH 19442. I am still a resident of Hamilton on the Bay, 555 Northeast 34th Street. And I am here just asking you guys, please help us. What ANCO or Air Communities are doing, they are trying to force us to move, doing extremely, not just noise, but everything they can to take our off the building without make any reimbursement or any payment for us. We need help. Still, we are some there. We have no way to move if you don't receive help. I can tell you, if I don't find a way, if I don't have any help like the others, they are sending letters to us, they say they are trying to help us to move, finding apartments to move, but they are not. They just lie, and they lie all the time. And we need your help, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Good morning again. Brenda Betancourt, 1436 Southwest 6th Street. I actually have a question to Commissioner Carollo. And I have here an email from May with the office of the mayor stating about he was sponsoring an event this past Sunday.
Which item is this on the agenda?
Is not an item in the agenda. This is public hearing, right?
For agenda items only. Commissioner Carollo, if you would like to hear Ms. Betancourt, you obviously can grant her time, but this is not an agenda
Ms.
item.
Betancourt is not here for any real questions. She is here because she is trying to promote the newly candidate that is her husband or boyfriend that's running against me. And she's looking for a platform for that campaign. So this is not the platform for that, and certainly not in a day that we have so much on the agenda.
Ms. Betancourt, if you have a non-agenda item, please go to Commissioner Carollo's office and you can ask and
So
file any questions you
as
have.
a resident of the city of Miami, I am not allowed to speak in anything unless
It is on the agenda, that is absolutely
it's
correct.
approved by the commissioner where I live. That's what you're saying?
No, that's not how
Okay.
it works. Here's the rule. If you'd like to address this, if you have a complaint with the city that's not on an agenda, you can go to the your commissioner's office or the city manager. If you cannot get relief from either, you can request a special appearance before the city commission, which will give you additional time, perhaps 5 minutes instead of the 2, and then you can address this body because it'll be on an agenda item. We absolutely give everyone their fair share of time. But you cannot come to a commission meeting where we have a set agenda and speak on items that are not on the agenda. And so it's not to keep you quiet or make you go
But
through.
Commissioner, I understand, but you just heard right now a resident from my district too having an issue that it was not in the agenda. So if we're gonna be fair about people have to speak up in the city of Miami in the commission meeting, the same way that you just accept that gentleman to speak, it was not an item of the agenda.
Correct. And
Right?
Yes.
So, and this has nothing to do with an item with anybody else. I'm talking about Brenda Betancourt. I'm not talking about anybody else. I don't need to talk about anybody else. I'm a big woman and I know what I'm talking about. But I want you and the rest of the commission and the citizens who are listening to us right now to understand that you just let somebody speak and it's nothing to do with the commission agenda. And now you are telling me that I am not allowed to speak.
Any commissioner can request an exception to the rule to allow anyone to speak at any time. And Commissioner Corio actually asked specifically because I was going to send that resident to the office to speak about it as well. Nobody has requested that exception for you, and this is not an agenda item.
The problem here, Chairman, is that she spoke before already. So she used her 2 minutes before already. She is not here like the gentleman before that had a real legitimate problem. Anything she has, if anybody knows the process of our city is her, she can go through the manager for whatever she needs. She's here to try to make political statements. Look, her husband or boyfriend is running against me. She can make all the statements she wants with the rest of the crew that they got out there. Let's move on with her meeting because she hasn't been around for a while to get cameras. She's gotten enough cameras for today, and we have to go on with her meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I don't have a problem. I just want you, I know that I'm not supposed to speak, but I'm glad that you're copying my event that I've been preparing since April, and you're doing it next Sunday.
Chairman,
Thank you so
for your
much.
comments. Thank you for your comments. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Caleb Freestone, and I would like to voice my opposition to FR4. I had no intention of speaking until I heard some of the comments made, and I would like to thank the commissioner for describing what he believes to be the great collapse of civilization. I believe it was blocked sidewalks. And I would just like to inform the commissioner what I believe to be uncivilized behavior.
Sir?
Such as, for example, the use of guns, the use of cages, and the use of machines larger than the dais that you sit behind in order to clear these encampments. Our police force has already killed someone during the course of effectuating an eviction. I believe it was the eviction task force. And now this commission wants to send these police officers after the people who live in public spaces. And I'd like to remind Commissioner Reyes that no one can take public property. People exist on public property because it was owned by all of us. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else here who would like to speak at public comment on any of the agenda items?
Can I make a brief
Of course.
statement? I thank the gentleman for coming up. I really don't know what he is referring to. I don't think any of us do. But one of my biggest concerns is precisely people that are so-called homeless in the streets that are dying every day. The week before last, I'll tell you what one event that I had. In Maurice Ferre Park, I received a call where I'm chairman of that trust that we had a drug overdose, not in the actual park, but when I got there, I found out that it was in the seats between the Frost Museum and the Paris Museum. The gentleman had died of an overdose. Not someone from here, from what I understand. And my way to him, I saw two police officers that, based on numerous calls from residents, were engaged with another homeless individual that I recognized from 2.5 months earlier with problems. That was obviously strung out on drugs also. And they had to arrest him. When I got to the fatality, I asked, why didn't we have any of our people that specialize in this there to take him out already? And it was because we had 2 other drug overdoses in our city, and they were handling those at that time. One of them, I was told, was in my own district somewhere in Little Havana. The other one, I don't know if it was in downtown or in District 5. So this is an issue that I believe is becoming quite serious in our city, that we're having a tremendous amount of death from drug overdoses. And it's one that goes hand in hand with the homeless situation in our streets.
Thank you, Commissioner Carollo. And just a clarification, I've checked with our police chief who says that the City of Miami Police Department has not been involved in a death regarding a homeless or eviction situation. There was a Miami-Dade County issue, but not with our police force. But thank you for...
I'm glad that was clarified.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure the facts are straight. Is there anyone else here who would like to speak at public comment for anything on this morning's agenda? This is for the planning zoning agenda as well as the regular agenda, everything but the CRAs and the budget agenda in the afternoon. Mr. Resio, good morning.
Good. Just afternoon. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. My name is Tony Resio with office at 2525 Ponce de Leon Boulevard. I'm here on behalf of Hamilton on the Bay and AIMCO. I just wanted to clarify a couple of things because we've heard some information. I want to make sure we're all on the same page here. This has been a difficult situation for everyone involved. We understand that. We recognize that. We recognize that it's been difficult for our residents especially. This is the last thing anyone wanted, including us. We did not do this intentionally. When we attempted to perform maintenance on the sanitary risers, the actual sewage lines, they were in danger of imminent failure. Okay,
Please control public comment. Everyone's had their chance to speak.
What are we?
This is about Hamilton. This is
okay.
He's a representative of Hamilton responding to the items that were brought up under PH1.
So I'll try to sum up because I know you guys have a long agenda. Look, we're not a slumlord. We're literally spending millions of dollars to fix up the building. This is not affordable housing. There's no public money. This is entirely a private contract matter. Nevertheless, we understand that this has been impactful to our residents. So we've tried to work with our residents. We worked with you, Mr. Chair, and your staff, and we worked with many of the individual commissioners to try to resolve this situation. We're at the point where at 95% of the 149 apartments have vacated the building.
Mr. Ressi, sorry to interrupt.
Yes, sir.
Is it 9 people left or 39 people left?
It's
who have
nine people left in the building.
Not physically in the building, but who have accepted whatever offer you have made.
I don't think it gets up to 39 total.
But it is more than the 9.
There were some, yeah, who did not accept our offer, but that doesn't mean we didn't make the offer and we tried to resolve it with them. They chose to leave without accepting an offer, without making a settlement. We can't force them to the table. We've tried.
So the question is, how many people have accepted your offer? Or how many units?
It's probably on the order of 39. Yeah, 120 in that range.
So about 120 of the residents
yes.
have, okay.
Yeah, and out of the 9, there's about 3 or 4 that we think we're getting close to that we will have resolved before September 16th. Look, the fact remains, and the unfortunate fact is, we have to move forward with this. This is not a negotiable situation. We need to fix what's wrong with the building. So we need to get there. We extended the deadline. We've done what we can. September 16th. That day is coming, and we just have to move on this. So that's where we are right now. We're trying to work with everybody. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else here to speak a public comment?
Not that you haven't heard this before. Good afternoon, commissioners.
Your name, please, for the record.
Sandra Ross from the Hamilton on the Bay. You know the address, I'm sure. Just to tell you that I have been living in Miami for 42 years. Always rented, have never met people that have treated us so badly as AMCO. It's not even possible. Everything they've done, or everything they haven't done, they're just not. Now they're starting for the people who haven't left yet, and I haven't, but nobody's even approached me as to what they're going to do. Anyway, I've got 10 more days, and I have to say, it's been a horrific experience.
Are you still living in the building?
I am, but not for another 10 days.
I can imagine it's horrific. I've seen the conditions.
I know. So you know what we've dealt with. But I did look, and now I've decided to leave Miami. So
Thank you for your
I'll
comments.
see what happens. Thank you.
Yes. Is there anyone else here who would like to speak at public comment on the regular agenda?
Good afternoon. David Winker, law offices at 4720 South Lejeune Road. I live in the city of Miami. You've heard from residents about what's happening at the Hamilton. And a quick Google search about AIMCO makes clear they are a slumlord. I'll just read a few quotes from the internet. Google search, horrible slumlords. If I could leave negative stars for AIMCO, I would. One of America's worst slumlords. Years of slumlord conditions and bad management at apartment complexes owned by AIMCO. Parktown Place used to be a great place to live until AIMCO took over. I want to object as a taxpayer. This is a publicly traded company that has come to our community and is inflicting this on us. And now we're going to give money to pay for lawyers to fight them, to hopefully money to relocate these people. This company can afford to do that. We're all capitalists here. This is what the definition of corporate welfare. They shouldn't be allowed to come here, inflict this on our residents. You heard the real pain, and they should be held accountable. This is going to continue. This is a blueprint. They have more projects in the pipeline, and residents need your help. This is the canary in the coal mine. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else here to speak at public comment on any of the items?
Let me just say this right quick, because this, I think, is important. And I think we both have tried, where's Tony's there? I think we've both tried to assist in this case. I think when it first started out, and I want to now not be crude or crass, but at least have people appreciate. I have probably about 2 miles from you due west. People who have of little means living in a place that they shouldn't be living because it's an abandoned, because they have nowhere else to go. I just want to say that, and it was stated by a virtue city attorney, that unless we have monies in projects, it is literally almost impossible to deal with projects that exist like the Hamilton. So we've tried our best. I've helped some people. I've helped talk to Mr. Recio. I think that that should be understood. The Hamilton folks was given 60 days. The folks that now live due west of you 2 miles was given 3 days. And I understand the dynamics of everything that's involved at this point, because I've been made to. I have friends that live in the Hamilton. And so I think that when we do have an opportunity to stand forward, we do. However, those resources then go to places like these other folks who have monies in it, and we try our best to make sure the resources are deployed as best we can. And so that should be made clear that we're not trying to do anything. We've tried to do the best we can. To those corporate entities, you can't just wholesale throw people out, even if we don't have the ability to oversee you. But if you're trying to do something else going forward, other than what you're doing, you will have a very unwelcome occurrence, okay? Because people and we don't want to stand for that. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear, Mr. Chair, because I think it's important. And I think also the residents in Hamilton who remain should try to figure out very swiftly, to the extent we can help you, we will. But to the extent that we are unable to help you, then we'll say so, not necessarily being reticent in doing so, but at least making clear what we can and can't do to assist you in your issues, right? Okay? Right? Good.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Final call for public comment. Anyone here to speak on the remainder of the agenda? Seeing none, I'll close public comment. Here's my goal, gentlemen, while we have a quorum. Get through as much of the regular agenda as we can right now. Then we're going to break for about 15 minutes, and I have food for everyone on the dais in my office. And then we'll take up the CRA meeting agenda, where if we want to eat through, you're very welcome on the dais. It's just finger foods and things like that. And that way we can definitely get through this day and be done well before budget hearing.
But you're talking about food, but you have not described the menu.
Oh, it's got everything. You're going to love it.
I mean, you see, I'm a little finicky.
As the first Japanese American elected official of the city of Miami, will be very offended if you do not enjoy everything in my office.
I enjoy everything but sushi.
I thought of you. I thought of you. So we have edamame, gyoza, we have other things that are not just raw fish.
Okay.
But I'm going to work on converting you on the sushi, though. I'm going to work on that. All right, so thank you. So the CA agenda, is there a motion on the CA agenda?
So move.
Moved by Commissioner Watson, second by Commissioner Reyes. CA 12 is one thing I'd like to make a comment about. This is an authorizing agreement for settlement of future proceeds from the opioid settlement with the drug companies. But this money does not have allocation of where it will go once it's received. I believe we should give direction to the management on what they should start thinking about. The two things that come to mind for me is an expansion of the Lazarus Project, because it's about drug addiction in the streets, and as well as assistance to Judge Leifman's program.
I second that if you make a motion, I will second, because I think that Judge Leifman, well, if you take the tour, if you go on and learn what he is proposing and what he's going to do, I didn't believe that, because I didn't see it. But once I took the tour and I talked to him, I'm a firm supporter of Judge.
It's going to be an amazing facility.
It's going to be amazing.
But at least, though, I'd like to find out, because that's a county facility, or did they give it to him? That's a county facility?
Yes.
No,
Why?
it's a state facility.
It's a state facility?
State facility leased to the county to operate.
Leased to the county for $1.
Well, why have they not provided the funds to fix it so it can be in use? Do we know that?
So I understand
he has the money for fixing it. But now what he's looking for is a contribution for operation.
Yes.
So yeah, let's let the record reflect. Like, that's not ours, right? That's theirs.
We're going above and beyond.
We're doing something. Yeah, but but nobody will remember that next year. So that's, nobody will remember that next year. I know Steve very well, and it's been languishing for some time. So yes, that's something that we should do. I just want to know whose facility it was, because we will not get credit for it. Somebody.
Thank you. This will be PI 3, Pocket Item 3, motion by Commissioner Watson, seconded by the chair, a resolution directing the city manager to analyze the opioid settlement proceeds and create a plan to divide those proceeds between expansion of the Lazarus Project and assistance to Judge Leifman's facility to treat the drug addicted and psychologically affected homeless.
But also, Mr. Chair, I just want to state this. This is kind of, this is just one component of the funds that's going to be received. So there's a bigger pot that's going to grow as a result of this settlement, because it's just now one company on the settlement, and they're Johnson, they're going after the other. So the pot's going to grow. So maybe you might want to wait till that settler weighs in. Mr. Manager, Mr. Casamore is around. So this is just one piece of it, but the pot's going to grow. So you may have a list of other things that we can do as well, but the pot is going to grow.
Absolutely. So that they'll, any specific line item, they'll have to bring back to us.
Bring
This
back to
direction
us.
simply
That's
asks them to create a plan.
But I want a point of information. Every time that we look at all of this, demands and agreements, and when we sue and huge companies are sued, and we always go back to the cigarette settlement. And that was billions of dollars. This is not like that because from what I heard, some of the companies that they were distributing the opioids, they went bankrupt. I mean, and it is not going to be that big pot of money. But whatever it is, if we want to spread the wealth, it is fantastic. But what I like about your suggestion, Mr. Chair, is that it is going to specifically is going to be used to fight and try to help those people that are now that they're addicted, be it by opioid or any other.
Thank you. And I apologize. I believe I have two active motions on the floor now, one for the entire CA agenda and then one for this separate PZ3. Mr. Clerk. how would
Which
you
is
like
fine. We've moved to what I would call a new section, which is going to be PI3. So you have a motion. The other one right now has just been tabled. The motion on CA 1 through 12 has been tabled. So we're currently on PI3, which is the motion pertaining to a resolution directing the city manager.
Thank you. Is there anyone here from the public that would like to comment on this pocket item PI3 to direct the manager to come up with a plan to allocate the drug settlement funds?
Thank you. Vicki Millette, Miami-Dade County Homeless Trust. I would just urge you to take a look at permanent housing options, including supportive housing options. We have a capital project in the pipeline that is situated outside of City of Miami that is supposed to focus specifically on people suffering from severe mental illness and substance use disorders, including opioids. I'd also mention that you're going to need to shift the focus of the Lazarus teams. Those teams are focused on severe mental health, not opioid addiction. The three new teams that we recently deployed are very much focused on substance use. So I would just ask that you keep that in mind and keep a permanent housing option open for the use of these funds. And I'd love to brief each and every one of you on that project that I think can help a significant number of people in the city, many of whom are suffering from opioid addiction.
Vicki, what are the number of units in that and what is your shortfall?
So it's already county property. It has a deed restriction. We're working with the federal government to remove the deed restriction. It's 112 beds, but we think the facility could add additional capacity up to 200 beds. So we not only need capital money to make some improvements on the property, we also need startup operational dollars. But this is focused on individuals with severe mental illness, substance use disorder, property already designated or could be designated for homeless individuals. So.
Thank you. If I could ask the mover to maybe amend the resolution to include a
will
broader
amend.
scope.
Well, I'm sorry. I will amend. My colleague will speak. I want to know, where is this outside the city of Miami you're talking about?
This is a property in West Dade.
In West Dade?
Yes.
To make the case, as the devil's advocate here, though, this is to treat homeless within the city of Miami and take them elsewhere.
So we're going to get, my colleague and I, we're going to get the benefit of additional capacity.
Correct.
Commissioner Diaz-Labortilla, I apologize. You were
Thank
trying
you.
to say something.
I was working on budget matters in my office, but I've been watching the whole meeting, obviously, all the public comment and everything. And I heard Commissioner Watson very brilliant comments about, why not wait till we know exactly how many dollars are going to be allocated as a result of the settlement agreement before we start divvying it up. And you were very good at very aggressively saying, these are the two organizations that I want to do it, but we don't know, number one, how many dollars we're going to have, and number two, whether some other commissioners may have some priorities that they're aware of that they may want to fund.
Mm-hmm.
To your point, and to your point now, Commissioner, something in West Dade, my understanding, and Vicki's not here, but manager, okay, all right, that this West Dade project was a good project. I believe Miami-Dade County is going to get its own dollars, and each city gets over, X number of I think 300,000 or whatever people, right, get their own money. So why are we giving our money to Miami-Dade County, and Miami-Dade County is gonna get their own pot of money? And we don't know, is that correct? Miami-Dade gets its own pot of money, and Miami will get its own pot of money because we're a city, so we're 300,000 people. And that money is not a lot of it, right? There's still negotiation, still litigation. It's whether we're part of a settlement agreement or not. But we haven't even decided that we're gonna be part of the settlement agreement, and we're gonna divvy up the money now before we decide. That's kind of my concern.
No.
Well,
I
let me
know
tell
it
you
may have sounded like it, but I'll clarify.
Let me tell you what I heard. I heard two organizations, Lazarus and Project, and what else?
Lazarus is the city of Miami. That's not
I know what Lazarus is. And what's the second one? The Leafman Project, right?
Yes.
Yes, Judge
So that's what I heard.
Yes.
And then I heard you say,
It is in your district.
no, it's not. Lazarus is, yeah.
Liveman.
Well, it doesn't matter what this is. You know that I always do things for the city of Miami. I don't care.
I know. Listen, I'm
Yeah.
not saying anything like that.
No,
I'm
I
just
know,
saying
I know.
That if you know, it's what the old railroad
I know,
station is.
but this is,
That's the only
but my issue is, it doesn't matter what district it's in.
Oh, okay.
But it does,
Sorry.
for me, but it does matter that's in the city of Miami. And it does matter that it addresses the issue precisely that we're supposed to be dealing with, which is the crisis that we have, what the settlement agreement is about. So we need entities that are specializing in that particular issue, not that deal with other things. That's my issue. So if it's in any district, if the crisis is here or the entity is somewhere else, I'm okay with that, right? It doesn't bother me.
Mr. Chair?
So if you leave it one.
Just a moment, Commissioner
If I
Reyes.
may-
I haven't finished yet.
Go ahead.
So I'd like to know a dollar amount. Well, we spoke about it in the briefing. Vicky, I had a lot of questions in the briefing. Yeah, Johnson & Johnson hasn't settled, some have gone bankrupt, but we do have it, but, no, I know the issue because let me tell you, hold on.
We need
Let me just finish my point. When I had my briefing, I asked a lot of questions of the lawyers that are involved in the settlement agreement, the negotiations. There was an amount that was thrown out, right, Vicky? Of what they think it's going to be and what's going to represent for the city of Miami. And the argument that I made was, don't talk to me about the big numbers of the billions nationwide or statewide and all that. Talk to me about what you think is going to be the city of Miami's, for lack of a better word, cut. And what number was that?
I think that when we did like rough math, it was like $1 million.
About $1 million.
I heard much more than that.
That's what the lawyers told me. That Miami's cut would be $1 million. So we kind of, when we have these conversations, before we start saying, let's fund this or fund that we need to know more or less where it's still hypothetical, right? Because it's still not something that we're set in stone, the amount, but we want to know where we're headed. They also said that it could increase.
In my briefing, it was much more than that.
Right.
Over a period of time.
So I don't want to have the manager come back to us, with 2 or 3 organizations, but with different, no matter where they are in Miami. I would like for them to be in Miami. If we can't find those organizations that deal only with this crisis in Miami, then I'll buy your argument. But if we can, let's have a broader debate about that. Let the manager do some research, and Vicky, you help, and come back to us and tell us this is where we can best spend those dollars. Because it could be $1 million.
That's a good point.
But it could be 2.5.
Yeah.
Commissioner Watson, and then Commissioner Reyes.
Just because it's my amendment, and we can be hashing this out. How about my amendment? Because what I was saying, Commissioner, is that's from what we're doing on the settlement. However, outside of this settlement, there are some other companies that's going to have money coming to us. So rather than us to be specific, how about we just now have the manager tasked to do a plan, survey of those
Mr. Chair?
solutions that can help us, right? Help us in our efforts without now drawing names or beads to projects, at least come back a plan. That way, everybody will get surveyed, everybody get talked to. You can now bring your solutions to the table.
Got it.
So we'll
That's a
do
good one.
that.
So-
That then will be my
Seconder approves the amendment. Commissioner Reyes, you recognize.
Mr. Chair, the most important thing about this resolution or ordinance, whatever it's going to be, is that we are earmarking those funds to be used where they are needed the most. Who is going to be which organization are going to be the recipients? I think that the city manager, just as you said, should identify those that are more effective and will use the funds more effective and bring a recommendation. But the important part here is that 1.5 or $1 million is going to be earmarked only
for that purpose. That's the most important part of this.
We're in agreement.
So that's
Okay.
my amendment.
And I agree.
That's my, that's.
I think
my-
we're in accord here.
Commissioner Diallo, I agree with what you're saying and what your comments, and also Commissioner Watson.
Thank you,
Let's
Vicky.
do it like that.
Thank you for clarifying. That made it better. So PI 3 has a motion and a second with amendments. Is there anyone else from the public that'd like to speak on the item? Seeing none, I'll close public comment. All in favor of the item, say aye.
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 This is a pocket item directing the manager to come up with a plan on the opioid settlement proceeds if the item passes during.
Yes, yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes. Now, the tabled motion for CA 1 through 12 has already been moved and seconded. Are there any comments on the remainder of the CA agenda?
I think that I had some representatives from the Dominican community that we are naming a street. You see, designating CA 9
Yes.
and CA 10 that by the way, Commissioner Carollo is co-sponsoring.
Yes.
Both of them.
Thank you.
Okay.
I would also like to co-sponsor those.
Commissioner Watson, too.
Sounds like we have a universal. but-
Universal, okay.
Commissioner Reyes, is El Guapo referring to you? Because I don't think we're allowed to name anything. Oh, that's somebody else. I apologize.
Well, it all depends.
Well,
If
well,
you,
it means two things, right? It
That's
means-
right, it could mean
It means courageous and good looking. So you got them both. We're good to go.
Well, I think the Cuban slang for it is not the good-looking one.
No, it's not. But that's why it's Dominican.
I'll take the second.
All right. Thank you. CA 1 through 12, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Chairman,
Yes.
really
Madam
quick,
Secretary.
on the CA 11, I just wanted to remind everyone that whether it's through a rezoning or through exemption pursuant to state law, we'll figure out about the uses after you allow this. So thank you.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes on the CA agenda. Thank you. The remainder of the PH agenda, please. The only one deferred is PH 3. So this would be PH 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Is there a motion? Moved
I
by
have-
Commissioner Diaz-Labortia.
PH and PH 4, I think that we have included some protection, an amendment that's to protect the city of Miami, making clear that we are not liable for anything that these people do. And do you have those amendments, Madam City Attorney?
In the meantime, the chair will second the motion by Commissioner Diaz-Labortia, and Commissioner Reyes is requesting an amendment on PH 4.
Which is just clarifying that, letting people know that we are not liable for anything that is done, or responsible.
Yeah, if we could, as a friendly addition, also add that we have done, that the administration has done is due diligence on these people.
So based on Commissioner Reyes's request, he wanted to make sure that the final negotiated settlement has indemnity language, prohibitions on the use of the city seal and similar logos, clarification on the expansion of the ability for the city to terminate the agreement, clarification on the prohibition of city assets being invested, and a prohibition on any endorsement by the city. And then Commissioner Carollo had wanted to make sure that certain background checks had been done to make sure who we were negotiating with, and I believe the manager can talk
And
to
just a
that.
quick line that will refer to that in the resolution, that the administration made its due diligence on the principles and is satisfied with the results.
Thank you. Any further comments?
Can I add an additional element to this too, if I may?
What's that?
Right, Chair? Know that in addition to the due diligence we've done already, we're also going to place the proceeds in a reserve account for about 6 months, not spend the money in order to be able to just reassure ourselves that there are no additional issues with regards to the proceeds. That's just as an additional precaution.
Okay,
thank
so we should include that in the resolution too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's part of it, what we approve.
I agree.
Got it. All in favor of the item, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes on the PH agenda.
As amended.
As amended. And similar to what we just did with the opioid settlement proceeds, I would like to start a process to decide how we will spend the CityCoin proceeds. And so I believe direction to the manager may be in order at this point.
Yes.
My recommendation is that this is going to be money generated from basically the tech industry on this Bitcoin situation. And the Miami coin, my recommendation would be going towards affordable housing, especially the extremely low income.
Affordable housing, yes.
I thought you were going to the college.
No, but
I thought you were going to jump on the
I was giving Commissioner Reyes a look. We looked at each other and said, is it going to go to more tech money?
No. I really,
Affordable housing.
You're good to go.
And I'd like to recommend we focus on extremely low income housing where we have the biggest gap for getting the homeless out of shelter.
Yes.
I think but we can expand that. But I'd like the manager to come up with a plan. My goal in our collective effort to create a functional zero for homelessness is to find 500 units of extremely low income affordable housing in the next couple of years. New units. But I'm open to how we spend this money as long as it goes toward the extremely low income range of affordable housing. Is that something the other commissioners are open to as well?
I have a little bit of an issue with that. I think the mayor's already allocating $6 million to homelessness. I think the Homeless Trust we've had this discussion many times, a substantial amount of money in a surplus account and everything else we talked about. I think it's better that we don't continue to target extreme low-income housing, and that we begin to focus a little bit on things like home ownership, things like workforce housing maybe, a broader direction for the city manager.
Broader affordable housing?
Absolutely.
Broader housing, public
Right.
housing.
Listen, we have we have funds that they are being identified as affordable housing.
Right,
There's a pot,
that's what
there's
I
a
mean.
pot of money that we draw from that. Just include that in there.
Got it.
Right.
So I'm open to that. Whoever would like to make the motion,
I'll
capturing
make
all
it.
of that?
I'll make it.
Seconded
And
by
I
the chair.
second it.
Okay, seconded by Commissioner Reyes.
Yeah,
And this is PI.
I think this is important because I don't want to be in a situation that some of our residents are going to think that they're better off going out and blocking a sidewalk and putting up a tent, and that's how they're going to get help a lot quicker than they are now.
Thank you. But at least we're putting our flag in the ground that proceeds from Miami Coin will be directed toward affordable housing. There's a motion, there's a second. Is there anyone here from the public who'd like to comment on that?
I do have one question.
Seeing none, I'll close public comment. Go ahead, Commissioner Carollo, then Commissioner Diaz.
I remember years back when I headed the...
And Commissioner Carollo, may I interrupt you? I have a question, it's still timely. I see a frenzy of media over there on the right that's kind of hurting my eyes. Who's being interviewed over there? I can't, the police chief? Oh, okay, I couldn't see.
yeah,
I thought something was happening that was important to what was, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I saw all those lights and it was, I haven't seen that many lights here and I don't know how many.
I don't know what's going on.
Since I've been here, I haven't seen that many lights. So to me, it's like, I was shocked, it's kind of like, it looks like the White House or something.
Commissioner, I was wondering what
Like the press corps, the White House press corps.
I thought it was Pepe Policia.
So I'm sorry to interrupt you, so I was just curious why I'd never seen this kind of
this
press
is,
activity here in Miami.
This is the kind of stuff, gentlemen, that, here we're getting all these cameras where it's even hard to look forward.
I can't see.
Well, got all these lights.
They're aiming straight at me, but they're not interviewing me. I don't get it. I thought we were the politicians.
Yeah, well, Mr. Manager, can we try to get some decorum here where, this is not Texas, okay?
Yeah.
This is Miami, and if he hasn't realized that this is Miami, he's going to be in for a crash landing.
This is also City Hall.
Yeah.
There's a police headquarters, or you can do the interviews over there, but not to interrupt our meeting with all these lights on us, because we're trying to focus on important city business beyond whatever it is he's talking about over there.
Exactly, and we're not saying that he cannot talk about real city business that's before us today, in particularly in the area of budgeting for police, et cetera, but, not in this fashion. And this has got to come to an end frankly, but
I'm
I'm
sure
getting,
that'll
I'm
come
getting
up in
ahead,
DI
I'm getting
4.
ahead of myself.
Just discussion item 4, we'll have that. I believe that's your item there.
But I thought it was timely, that's why I interrupted Commissioner Carroll. I thought it was timely because it was happening before my very eyes, and I thought we need to bring attention to.
Yeah, I
to
do
what I know is a growing concern in this, among
Yeah.
this body.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it out, because I couldn't see who was there with all those bright lights hitting me here.
Thank you.
I was blinded by the light, that's like a song, I don't even know.
Thank you. I've closed public discussion for PI4, the direction to allocate funds from the Bitcoin.
You know,
Mining
I was making a statement when Commissioner Diaz-La Portilla brought this up, and I remember back in the day when we had the Mayor Summit of the Americas, and out of 16 mayors that came from Canada, one was the Mayor of Toronto, and he had a silver coin. Now, silver wasn't worth as much, you know, back in 1999, 2000, as silver is worth today. It's gone up quite a bit. But he had silver coins, 1 ounce, that, you know, he would pass them out. And on one side it had City of Toronto, and the other side it had his face. Now, these Bitcoins, are they going to have any kind of face in them?
They're going to have the mayor.
Well,
Francis is going to be.
Well, I think we alternate. We'll get a Wapo, Commissioner Wapo in one of them.
That's
We'll have
right.
yours in the other
Commissioner
one.
Wapo.
Commissioner Wapo down there. I'll take
A
it.
chair.
That catches on, you
Commissioner
remember who
Watson, of
started
course.
it. Okay? He just coined it, but you remember who started it.
You know, we alternate.
Thank you.
With 6 versions, of course, the mayor has to be on.
All in favor of item PI4, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We're going to take a break now for lunch, and to satisfy all palates, we have Japanese in my office, we have Chicken Kitchen upstairs, and I would like to make a short break so that we can come back and even eat here during the CRA. It's mostly finger food.
We're going to
so
have
we can keep moving
both
through.
CRA's meetings, or?
3 CRA meetings, and then we'll go back to finishing the regular agenda. And then we should be able to break early enough to have a break before 5 p.m. for,
Okay, let's do it.
that's how we roll.
Can I ask you a quick question?
So what time?
So we'll take 30 minutes right now, please.
Quick question.
Because I'm going to bring it back to the.
Did we do all the PH items?
I need at least.
We did all.
Can we do 45?
Yes,
An hour, maybe?
An hour.
And for the record, PH3 was deferred to September 23rd.
I think we could do an
I'm
hour.
a man of compromise. 1 hour it is.
1 hour, look, it's not 3 hours. Look at the
But
bright
otherwise,
side. It's not 3, it's 1 hour words.
No, it's very fair. Let's see. So it's.
Before we break, I would like to, Madam City Attorney?
Yes, Commissioner.
Yes, and on CA8, you see, direct action against TY Lin International. You see, these people, I mean, this company has kept us from going forward in a project that will definitely benefit the residents, because it is a total reconstruction of the streets, and because they have taken forever with the plans, and every time that we have, well, Zurich can talk, can vouch for it. You see, it has been like they don't want to do it, or they don't pay any attention to it. And enough is enough. Could you please take action as soon as you can? Because there are some funds that were provided by other governmental agencies, and I don't want to lose those funds, and I want to be able to improve the quality of life of those neighbors in those streets. And it's not fair that this company is holding us hostage.
We already assigned a litigator to the matter last week, so we'll swiftly proceed to court.
Okay, please.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to come back at 1:45 for the CRA meetings, and then we'll go right back into the regular agenda as soon as we're done. And please enjoy our brief lunch, 1 hour. Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, I'm going to try the Japanese first, and if it's not up to par of real Japanese food, then I'll try the Chicken Kitchen.
He ordered it.